today, and they may be seeing a witness or hearing testimony in camera. So that might mean you and I won't be hearing or seeing what they're going to be looking at. Fort Hare remains closed following that violent protest at the campus in Alice. Again, as I said last week, you cannot find any sympathy from me if you are going to, as part of your protests, burn down buildings in an education facility. And I understand there were some frustrations around student safety, allegations of corruption. They want the VC gone, but nothing, but absolutely nothing justifies the torching of buildings.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So as we keep an eye on processes like the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry as it resumes this week, obviously the parliamentary process looking at the same issues, those allegations of interference and infiltration of our law enforcement by criminal underlords, one of the questions that must necessarily arise is when, for example, the Madlanga Commission in 3 months, right? Let's go back to that timeline they gave us. If we accept that in 3 months there might be the first interim report, maybe 3, maybe 4, whatever. Presumably one of the things they're going to start doing is making recommendations. I don't think we're going to wait 18 months, right, before we start hearing what they think ought to be done, because the nature of the inquiry will require urgency. So I imagine when the first interim report comes out, they're not going to just give us a summary and say, oh, this is what we know so far. At that point already, they might already be saying, hey, Umuteo, look into that guy. Hey, Oamo, look into that girl, right? Will the NPA be up to the task? That's really the question, right? Will the NPA be up to the task? You remember on Friday, we saw the bail application of one Gatlego Katie, Katiso, beg your pardon, Katiso Katie Mulife. He's out on 400,000 Rand bail. So let's just unpack that. Where does Katiso Katie Mulife get that 400,000 Rand? Uteo, do you have 400,000 Rand bail?
No, he's a businessman, no? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm answering your question.
What business?
He has said he's a businessman.
What
himself.
business, right? He's already out, by the way, on 100,000 Rand bail on a separate case, right? So on Friday, they let him go. At least they gave him bail, even though he's accused of masterminding the murders of DJ Somebody and his bodyguards. He's also out on 100,000 Rand bail, where he is accused in a separate murder case. This is of that engineer from the Vaal, Armand Swart, who was shot 23 times outside his workplace. But so bad was the NPA's case that the judge felt he had no other alternative but to let this man go, because he says, everything you are presenting to me is circumstantial. It's circumstantial. Sorry. You didn't bring a strong enough case. I don't have enough reasons to keep this man behind bars whilst you guys build your case. We'll speak to lawyer Ulrich Roo, who is, of course, the founder and managing director of Ulrich Roo and Associates. He's a criminal lawyer. He knows how these things ought to go. We'll speak to him about that case. Madagascar is now very, very unstable. Protesters, they're demanding the resignation of the president. And some of the elite troops that protected him in the first instance have now joined those protests. So that would appear to be something that will happen in a matter of days. We're keeping an eye on that story in Madagascar. We'll speak to political analyst Dr. Luke Friedman, who will explain what this military defiance could mean for the island nation's fragile democracy. And then the search is on to find Shamila Batoy's replacement as the National Director of Public Prosecutions. Remember, she was appointed in 2019 for a 10-year contract, and she would have obviously served the full 10 years, but for the fact of her age of retirement coming up in January. So the search is on to find her replacement. The president has selected a panel that will choose the new top prosecutor, except the trouble is it is chaired by the Minister of Justice. So how independent is that panel going to be if she is the chair? But also it's being criticized for lacking prosecutors, people there who are lawyers with prosecutorial experience. The Justice Minister has defended her selection as chair and the panel, and she'll explain to us why. And then just before 9 o'clock, we'll speak to Nikki Lee Watson, who is now the head of marketing and communications at City Polo.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
13 after 6. Here's a question. Is there a celebrity or public figure whose work you really, really admire? You think this person is absolutely amazing in terms of the work they do, but you really don't want to know much about their personal life. I'm not alone, of course. As always, I'm with my colleagues. Amoramila, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Bongs.
Can you think of somebody? Maybe a singer, maybe a sports star, maybe a politician?
Definitely Lebo Ems. He recently had a reality show called Coming Home, and it was a very beautiful concept, because usually he's a person who's never really home in terms of like where he stays. You never really know what happened in his personal life, his children and all of that, and so we get to see him in his personal lifestyle, his children and what have you. But the arguments that would then happen on the show, the exchanges between him and the then wife, it was just problematic.
You didn't want to know.
I didn't want to know all of that. I'm happy with knowing him as the Lion King producer, and that's that.
He had you at Nansingwenya.
Finish. It should have ended there for me.
Muteo Kharipa also, of course, with us this morning for business news and so much more. Muteo, can you think of a public figure whose work you really admire, but you really don't want to know what happens behind the scenes?
You know what I've realized about reality shows is that I start judging the people that I like and the way they live their lives, their values, what they do on a daily basis. So I don't think I needed to know about Will Smith's private life at all.
Right?
At all.
Right?
I would have been fine. Not
Being
knowing.
Bobby. I love Whitney Houston.
That show
I
was
didn't need to
horrible.
know. I didn't need to know about Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston and that whole thing, right? Is there a public figure or celebrity you admire their work, but you just don't want to know what happens behind the gates?
Let's walk the talk.
7:02.
Well, of course, 6:15, we're keeping an eye on that ad hoc committee in Parliament looking into allegations of alleged criminal capture of the police. One of the things I wanted to tell you today was a heated exchange between DA MP Glynis Breitenbach and, of course, the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemula. They were talking about the role that the Police Minister, Senzo Mchunu, played in the disbanding of that political killings task team. And Glynis Breitenbach wanted to know from Masemula why he simply didn't tell the Police Minister to go to hell.
General, my difficulty is that he can't insist. So, let's just cut to the chase. He can't insist, he can't tell you what to do. You're the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service. There's no one above you, and he's not above you.
He's a Minister of Police. He's above me.
Not in the hierarchy of the South African Police Service, General, and you and I both know that. You call the shots in the South African Police Service, not the Minister. And if he tries, you should tell him to go to hell. Why didn't you?
Why didn't you? Masemula responded and said, well, I tried, but in a nice way. And Glynis Breitenbach says, well, actually, maybe you need to consider that you're just too nice.
Again, General, I have difficulty with... You're a really nice guy. There's no question about that. But you're too nice. You're way too nice. You're the head of the South African police. Nobody can tell you what to do. You've got a lot of power. You don't seem to want to exercise it. And I don't understand that. Why didn't you come to the Portfolio Committee and say, this minister, tell them to call him to the Portfolio Committee, and then sit there with him and say, this minister is interfering in the South African Police Service. He's telling me what to do. Why didn't you do that? How else would they have known?
That is, of course, part of what is unfolding in Parliament. And then former President Thabo Mbeki speaking this weekend, talking about how Africans need to stand together and to live in harmony. And he expressed deep concern over organizations like Operation Dudula, saying it actually hurts him to see Africans seeing each other as enemies.
That's part of what hurts me when I see things like Operation Dudula. It hurts. We can't position ourselves as though we're enemies of other Africans. It's not right. There are problems we've got to solve in this country, and we can't say those problems are solved by people who have migrated to South Africa. We've caused problems. But I'm saying that's where we come from. And Tiosoga was saying, rather than perishing, Africa will rise. So I think that for our foundation, if I make a claim to say that's our mother and father, what Tiosoga said 175 years ago, we must also ask ourselves, what are we doing to fulfill this vision that Soga had, that Africa will rise? Because I think as we look around the continent, starting with South Africa, there is much to worry about.
He was speaking at the 15th anniversary of his foundation in Johannesburg on Saturday.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
It's 19 after 6. Mateo Haripa, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, Bongs, I want to know from you and other 702 landers, please, let's all play along, right? Let's play along, okay?
You don't like playing.
I'm nervous. Okay.
If there was a blank check in front of you, right?
Yeah.
What amount of money would make you walk away from what you do now?
Ooh, there's this 130 million rand up for grabs in the lotto.
Would that be enough for you to say, okay?
Yeah, I might finally feel, okay, I'm secure.
I'm good.
Yeah.
What number is that for you?
Maybe around 2 billion.
It's no amount of money that will keep Amma away from this job.
No,
She
let
loves
me tell you why.
this job.
Because my children are still very young. They still need to go through school. They still need to go through varsity. You know?
Inflation is high. The rand is iffy, but 2 billion.
130 million won't do it for her, hey?
No.
And I still need to retire well in comfort. So I think 2 billion would be
2
good.
billion.
I'll tell you where I'm
Let's manifest. Let's manifest.
702.
Weather.
It's 20 minutes after 6 o'clock. What conditions can you expect this Monday? I've been loving the rain, hey? I've been absolutely loving the rain. Just a cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures starting at 15 degrees, peaking at 28 in Johannesburg, 17 and 31 for Pretoria, Vereeniging 13 and 30. Cape Town, cloudy with moderate fresh westerly winds, a high of 22 degrees. Your peak in Gqeberha and East London is 25, and it's 24 in Durban.
EWN Traffic.
Now, this Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 451442 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got an accident in Bedford View along the N3 North. It happened near the Giluli's interchange. It's causing delays coming out of the Earlands turn off. If you're heading towards Edenvale as well as Greenstone via the N3, please try to use Van Buren Road as an alternative. While traveling on the M1 North, queuing traffic between Boysons and Car Street. Peak time delays there. There's also queuing traffic along the N3 North in the Kelvin area. Roadworks are taking place along this route. Delays towards the Baklu interchange coming out of Marlborough Drive. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent and a nervous but excited kid practicing her lines to put on a show-stopping performance at the school play. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a future superstar on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
If this ad caught your ear, imagine what Prime Media can do for your business. With SA's leading media company, your message reaches the right audience across radio, digital audio, video, and display. The Prime Impact Sales Event is coming to Joburg, 3 to 7 November, and Cape Town, 10 to 13 November. Register today for a free demo commercial, a custom campaign, and unbeatable annual partnerships. Seats are limited. Secure yours now at primeimpact.co.za.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again. In, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
In a world shaped by those who build, disrupt, and reimagine, there comes a gathering not just of minds, but of futures. The South African Future Trust Summit, in partnership with Standard Bank, is where top entrepreneurs, innovators, and change makers converge. It's where the future of enterprise is redefined. On 5 and 6 November, you could be there. Stand a chance to win tickets to the South African Future Trust Summit on 702. WhatsApp the keyword SAFT with your name and ID number, telling us how you would benefit from attending the summit to 072-702-1702. Then catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa to find out if you're a winner. The South African Future Trust Summit, in partnership with Standard Bank. Your summit, your way, on 702. TCs and more on PrimeMediaPlus.com.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Morning, Bongani and the 702 listeners. Oh, what a weekend I had with my former schoolmates. That will be from Tito Comprehensive School in Zone Tansbokeng. We had a fun over the weekend. That was a class of 90 and 91. Oh, what a moment. I can tell you for free, Bongani, I'm now living with blindness. But you know what? On Saturday, they brought back my vision. It was hectic. Thank you guys for the loving you show. Matiti Siamatle Galerata. Thank you.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Oh, I'll tell you what, you brought these smiles to our faces, hey? That sounds absolutely lovely. Reunions? Are you big on reunions? Have you been to your high school reunions? I've always found a way to dodge them.
What are you running away from?
Yes. Some of them weren't my friends then. Let's not pretend.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
25 after 6, things you need to know at this hour. The former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher would have celebrated her 100th birthday today. Born on this day in 1925. You'll know, of course, she led the UK's Conservative Party from 1975 to 1990 and made history as the first female Prime Minister in the nation. She served from 1979 to 1990. Before entering politics, she'd worked as a chemist, and she earned that nickname, the Iron Lady, for her uncompromising leadership style. On this day in 1990, the Johannesburg held South Africa's first lesbian and gay pride parade. It was the first pride march on the African continent, organized by GLOW, which was the gay and lesbian organization of the Witwatersrand. And at that time, the event brought together more than 800 participants. The Deputy Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, is expected to face tough questioning today as he appears before Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating corruption within the South African police force. And as that unfolds, so will the Madlanga Commission, tasked with probing allegations of criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. That commission, the Madlanga Commission, resumes today. And on this day in 1984, Stevie Wonder's hit single, I Just Called to Say I Love You, reached number 1 on the Hot 100. It was also number 1 on the adult contemporary, R&B and UK singles charts.
702.
The newspapers.
Sfisa Zulu,
morning.
Clearly, KG did not just call to say I love you. I was expecting that song. But fine, we'll carry on. Won't be late for the news. What's in the papers?
I'm taking a look at the Washington Post this morning, and the Washington Post is trying to figure out how much time people spend on TikTok, the social media short video sharing app. And they're saying that more than 800 people in the US alone use the social media app, and they shared their data with the Washington Post. And the publication has used to find out how they can become more power users, spend hours on end scrolling per day. And they spoke to John, who's a 51-year-old operations manager, who says that, look, I've never smoked, I've never done drugs, but I feel like I'm an addict because I use TikTok for hours and hours on end, and I cannot measure how many hours I spend on the app. And so they're trying to figure out how much time people are spending on TikTok. And because of the systems that TikTok has, they haven't quite figured out yet.
Well, it relates to a story in The Citizen this morning. The mayor of Japan's Toyake, this is one of the cities in Japan, is encouraging people to have a 2-hour limit. He says, put your phone down. Put your phones down. When do you put your phone down?
I don't remember. The one time you asked us, how much time do you spend, or how much time would it take for you to be distracted in watching a series?
A film,
So because of TikTok, I would be having the series on TV, but because of TikTok, I'd go back and scroll. After an hour, find myself on TikTok, and then I've stopped watching the series or the movie.
They literally had a vote in the council, and this motion carried the day, and they're encouraging all citizens to have a 2-hour limit where you just put the phone down. So the rule in my house is no phones at the table. Because the kids then try, do you mind if we eat in the kitchen? I'm like, just this once. No phones at our table, at our dinner table. I don't care who you are, even if you're a guest. If we're sitting down at the table, no phones. I don't mind you picking up the phone and leaving the room to go make the phone call if you're dying to text someone. But at that table, no phones. So when do you put the phone down?
EWN Business.
Muteo wants to know, what's that amount of money that would make you leave your job, walk off into the sunset? Is there any amount of money that would make you walk away from what you do right now? Everyone has a number. What's yours, Muteo?
I think I'll be fine with 30 million.
30 mil.
Yeah.
Okay. Play the lotto, my friend. What prompts the question?
Adcock Ingram shareholders have voted to accept a 4.2 billion rand bid for a major stake in the company. The big payday comes from the Indian pharmaceutical Netco Pharma. The scheme will see Netco acquiring all remaining ordinary shares not already held by Bidvest and the treasury shares of Adcock Ingram. Should the deal go through, Adcock Ingram would delist from the JSE and be co-owned by Bidvest and Netco Pharma, with Netco holding around 35.7%. Now, Bidvest holds a majority stake of Adcock Ingram at 67%. Adcock Ingram was founded by brothers William and Samuel Ingram in 1890, though the original company's name was initially Ingram and Co. Limited. The Adcock part came much later when it merged with another firm. Now, Adcock Ingram was first listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in 1949. It was later delisted in the year 2000 when it became wholly owned, a subsidiary of Tiger Brands, but then returned to the JSE in 2008 after being unbundled from the food producer. All the products that they make, including Panado, Allergex, Citrus Soda, and Corenza C, will remain with the company despite the deal.
All right, so we'll still be able to get all of those things, right? Because I was about to take a Panado. Here's the rand.
17 Rand 36 against the US dollar, in a good position this morning at 20 Rand 18 cents against the euro, and at 23 Rand 18 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,053 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,630. Brent crude is at $63.60 a barrel. More business after 7.
Let's go straight to the news desk now. Swiso Zulu looking at this developing story from Limpopo. An awful This is a horror bus crash, isn't it?
That's right, Bongani, and we're receiving news just in that the death toll has risen to 40 in Limpopo on the N1 highway, where a bus crashed and landed on the side of the road last night. The road has been closed off to traffic, and motorists going from Makaro to Musina are being urged to use alternative routes. Emergency services and Department of Transport authorities have confirmed the number that has increased, and they're on site, and they will give us more details, and they're warning that more fatalities possibly will be reported. We'll give you more details on this developing story as it unfolds. The Gauteng Education Department says parents and guardians will have to adhere to a tight deadline of 7 days to either accept or decline school placement offers. The department says it has already placed more than 90% of children going to grade 1 and 8 in the 2026 academic year. All offers are expected to be sent out by SMS this week. Education MEC Matume Chilwane has reiterated that placements are made on availability of capacity.
So I would urge parents to accept while they are waiting for other offers. For example, they prefer to Uptown Girls High and we place them at another different school. They can be, they feel they want to be patient for only 7 days. But after 7 days, it's an automatic placement.
The Judicial Service Commission will resume its quest to fill vacancies in the country's superior courts this morning. The JSE has been interviewing candidates since last week in Sandton. So far, the Commission has made recommendations to fill posts in the Constitutional Court, the Labour Court and High Court in KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga. Khomotso Modisa reports.
Despite interviewing 6 candidates to fill vacancies in the Supreme Court last week, the JSE resolved not to recommend any candidates for appointment. However, for the Apex Court, the Commission has recommended 5 candidates to the President for 2 spots on the bench. This morning, the Commission will interview 3 judges for the position of Deputy Judge President in the Eastern Cape. 2 candidates will also be interviewed for 1 vacancy of judge in the Free State High Court. The interviews are set to run until Wednesday, with interviews for the bench in Gauteng and Limpopo also scheduled. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
And 15 people have died in Ghana, including children, when a boat capsized on a lake. Preliminary findings suggest that the boat was overloaded while traveling from Okuma to Bovime in the northeastern parts of the country. Maritime authorities say the children were aged between 2 and 14 years. Boat disasters are common in the country, often caused by overloading and collisions with tree stumps. Last month, 6 passengers died in a similar incident. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 15 degrees, peaking at highs between 28 and 31.
There's queuing traffic in Greenstone along Madagascar Road between Greenstone Drive and Emerald Road. This is due to an accident reported along this route. If you're heading towards the N3 exit, please try using the N12 as well as the R24 West instead. While traveling on the N3 North, we've got queuing traffic between the Ilans interchange and the Kidulis interchange. That's due to an earlier accident.
The developing story this hour, the death toll from a bus crash on the N1 highway in Limpopo has risen to 40.
702. Serving the 702 family in 702 land, including those of you in Moraleta Park. Moraleta Park is a suburb situated in the eastern part of Pretoria. Moraleta is named after Letta, a farmer's daughter who lived in the area when it was still farmland. The story goes that as she did her washing in the nearby river, passers-by would greet her saying, Moraleta. Moraleta Park is home to the Moraleta Kloof Nature Reserve. 702. Let's walk the talk across 702 land, including Moraleta Park.
People are talking, everybody's talking, and they're saying it's time to make insurance great again. They said our low premiums were fake news. Wrong! We're putting customers first. We're gonna drain the insurance swamp. It's full of hidden fees. But when we clean it up, believe me, it's gonna be huge.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now, it'll be the best decision people are saying ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like our insurance.
Fellow taxpayers, make tax matters a #1 priority by submitting your personal income tax return by the 20th of October 2025 deadline. Once your tax return is submitted, you'll receive a notice of assessment stipulating if there's any tax-assessed debt due to SARS or not. Should you owe, it's crucial to settle tax obligations on time. to avoid any penalties or interest charges. SARS, at your service.
702
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. I'm so glad. I'm so happy that Shamila Batoi's time is coming to an end. What an anticlimax of a tenure. I will never forget the processes involved when she was appointed. Ramaphosa was, in his consultative nature, setting up that transparent committee in Parliament to appoint the MPA head. And again, there was this thing of her being a black woman, and I know that position has been very contentious in the past. Those who've held it, and I'm glad it's coming to an end. Finally, I pray the next person who comes in just has a backbone. Prince, better view.
What would you want to see in the top prosecutor in the land? What qualities should they possess? We'll be speaking to the Justice Minister later on. She, of course, will be chairing the panel that will choose the next top prosecutor as Shamila Batoi's term of office comes to an end.
Morning, 702 lenders, KC from the south. Listen, can I just be Amo's friend? Because clearly Amo is coining it. She's swimming in the money. I mean, basically Amo here is saying she would say no to 1 billion rand. Damn, you guys are killing it there, ne? Can I just be friend with Amo there? Because clearly she's in the money. Imagine saying no to 1 billion. 1 billion. Yeah, I just want to be Amo's friend, eh? Cheers, guys, not sure.
Muteo Kharipa asked the question, what would your number be that would make you walk away from what you do? Amo says she'll settle for nothing less than 2 billion rand. So that's the context of that voice note. Cindy, are you horrified?
I think I must move over to traffic. I'm walking away for a cool 500,000. I'm like, give me 500,000. I would be able, with 500,000, I'd be able to take off work for 3 years. My salary.
Only 3 years. I want to stay at home throughout.
To walk away from my current
From what
job.
you do, yeah. What would your number be?
And then you're not allowed to come back, or you're allowed to work elsewhere, or
No, I suppose the idea is that you just walk into the sunset and, you stop working.
it's an interesting one because, and I've got this theory: the Kruger millions are not actually Kruger millions. They were millions at the time. They're probably 3 coins, in today's currency. So you've got to think forward. I like what Amo's saying. You've got to think the stuff. I mean, like bread, you go, in my day, we paid 2.50 rand, and now it's 22.50 rand. So you got to think of, I'm sure Mateo would enjoy this conversation, inflation, all of that. For me to walk away, it would be about 10.
I just want to win that 130 million.
10 what?
And did somebody win it?
Yeah. No,
10 million.
So I went to play on the weekend, and I saw it was 6 million. And I was like, no, not big
Not
enough for
worth
me.
EWN Sports.
So I guess that's my answer. It has to be more than 6.
So I've been watching Test cricket.
Good.
Yeah, the Pakistanis are batting really, really well.
They are. So day 2 of the first test starts in about 20 minutes time, and they'll resume on 313 for 5 in Lahore. In the middle is Rizwan on 62 and Aga on 52. Earlier in the innings, Ul Haq made 93. Bowler Simon Harm on how the pitch is deteriorating.
There is turn, especially on day 1. I think with Shaheen Shah Afridi, a left-hander will open up footmarks for the right-arm off spinner. And the odd ball's turning, but I think if anything it'll get lower because the ball sort of deteriorates quickly as well. That'll sort of counterbalance the spin aspect, but I think bounce and the ball keeping low will come into play from tomorrow onwards probably.
Live action, the West Indies 187 for 2 in their second innings on day 4. They were forced to follow on. They trail India by 83. At the Women's World Cup, Proteas are playing Bangladesh today. The game starts at 11:30 a.m. Yesterday, Australia beat India by 3 wickets, chasing down 331 with an over to spare. That's the highest successful run chase in women's ODI history. Bafana coach Hugo Broos has called up Stellenbosch defender Thabo Molosane to replace the suspended Mbokazi. Bafana is under pressure to beat Rwanda tomorrow to qualify for the World Cup.
Ghana is the fifth African side to qualify for the World Cup. They beat Comoros last night 1-0. Kudos with the goal. The Bulls won't have Andre Pollard for the remainder of the United Rugby Championship tour as he returns home for the birth of his second child. It wasn't a great weekend for South African rugby as the Stormers were the early SA side to win. In tennis, the Shanghai Masters, Coco Gauff won the women's title, beating Jessica Pegula 6-4, 7-5. The men's title was won by world number 204 Valentin Vacherot, who beat his cousin Arthur Rinderknecht 4-6, 6-3 and 6-3. And in netball, the Proteas women suffering a whitewash series defeat to Australia, losing the third test yesterday 65-42. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Hi, Uncle Bongani. My name is Lomparan Zedi. I am 11 years old. When I grow up, I would love to be a professional soccer player, and I'm very excited to play the Whiz Quiz with you. Thank you.
Can you score all 10 goals to win 10,000 Rand?
EWN Traffic.
17-7, this Eyewitness News traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Trouble on the N3 North. Amo?
That's correct, Bongani. Due to an earlier accident, it was right near the Kilulis interchange. As a result, traffic is still heavily backed up coming out of the Elands interchange. If you're heading towards areas like Edenville, Kempton Park, maybe try using the N17 East and then turning off at the R21. If you are traveling in Greenstone, we still have got that accident along the Modderfontein Road. It's right after Greenstone Drive, causing heavy delays there. Please be on the lookout. And then again on the N3 North, we still have got those roadworks, long-term roadworks near the Baklu interchange, delays as we come out of Marlborough Drive. If you're heading towards Sandton, please try using Vincent Chabalala as well as Marlborough Drive to avoid these delays. We'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 90. You were hunting for your child's missing hamster. That one's a stretch, right? Well, fortunately, with the Outsurance pointsman on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance pointsman ease traffic congestion to get you there quickly and safely. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
Introducing South Africa's most affordable way to get hearing aids. At Specsavers Audiology, you can now get a pair of hearing aids from as little as 599 Rand per month. Hearing clearly shouldn't be a luxury. Enjoy life's moments from 599 Rand per month. Test your hearing today and join the conversation with Specsavers Audiology. T's and C's apply.
Change arrives kicking and screaming. It's challenging, impatient, confusing. Change is a moment of peace. Change is life affirming. Change is growth. Change is opportunity. We've always believed it's worth investing in. For over 3 decades, we have been committed to seeking out the best investment opportunities for you, wherever they may be. 91. Investing for a world of change. 91 is an authorized FSP.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
With the phone thing, I mean, how many of you, and I'm guilty of this, you need to go to the toilet, and the first thing you're doing is looking around for your phone because you can't go to the toilet without your phone. It's crazy. It's so addictive. I don't know. We're very weak. G from Durban.
We're talking about putting down your phone. When do you actually put it down and you're not on your phone? The dinner table is certainly the one place in the house, in my household, where we're not allowed phones at the table. But I get it. I get what that's like, because you think the 2 minutes that I'm going to spend there, I might as well, have my mind occupied. In the old days, you used to have magazines, right? You had physical magazines in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? I still do, but I've read them all.
You haven't bought new ones?
I've read them all. When last did you buy an actual magazine, a physical magazine, right? So I've got magazines in the bathroom, but they're all old, and I've read most of those articles.
Morning, Bongani team and listeners. Quentin Kempton Park. My number is 50 million. What I will do is, for 1 year, I will do all the things that are on my bucket list. I will come back and then I will start my own business and still working with still some equity in the bank. Have a lovely week. Quentin Kempton Park.
Thank you, Quentin. Kempton Park, we're asking the question to walk away from your career, from what you do, presumably the thing that you love. What would your number be?
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Today we're playing with 11-year-old Hlompo, who wants to be a footballer later on in life. Hlompo, who's your favorite footballer at the moment?
I think it is Lionel Messi.
Lionel Messi, of course. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Well, let's see how many goals you can score. Are you ready to play?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like the confidence. KG, start the clock. Spell the word value.
VALUE.
Correct. Which word is a synonym for stubby? Is it short or lofty?
Please repeat.
Which word is a synonym for stubby? Is it short or lofty?
Short.
Correct. Which country's rugby team won the rugby championship this year? Australia or South Africa?
Australia.
South Africa! True or false? The ozone layer absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation.
Please repeat.
True or false? The ozone layer absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation.
True.
Correct. What is 27 plus 5?
27 plus 5 is 32.
Correct. Which human organ has the smallest 3 bones in your body?
The finger.
It's the ear. Which country... we've run out of time. You did well, Hlompo. We're just perhaps a little slow in getting to some of the answers, and that maybe charged you a little bit. You walk away with 400 Rand. 4 correct answers, 400 Rand.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
On 702.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? And it's brought to you by Outsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. So what you do is you send us an answer based on something that piqued your interest during the show, and for that you win 1,000 Rand. So simply WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Then a little later, someone else will ask a question to get your answer to win 2,000 Rand. Now, remember, you always stand a better chance of being selected if you have SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So, do it now. SMS out to 45142 and you could save on your car insurance.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
9 minutes before 7 o'clock. Let's move on to this now. Yet another loss for the NPA. You'll remember, in a dramatic turn of events on Friday, the Gauteng High Court granted bail of 400,000 Rand to Katiso Katie Mulife. You'll remember, of course, he's the man accused of being the mastermind between a number of murders, including that of DJ Somebody and his bodyguards. He's already out on bail of 100,000 Rand in a separate case. This is, of course, for the murder of the engineer Armand Swart in the Vaal. That man was shot 23 times outside his workplace. You'll also remember the KZN Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, told Parliament that this Mulife is allegedly part of that Big Five criminal cartel. And so I suppose the real question, as all of these details emerge, whether in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry or that ad hoc committee in Parliament, the question we must ask ourselves is, as we see more links between business, politics, and the underworld, is the National Prosecuting Authority up to the task of prosecuting those who are accused of wrongdoing? I made the point earlier that as the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry continues, we are going to see recommendations around who must be prosecuted. Part of the urgency of what they're looking into means these prosecutions must be dealt with some urgency. But if the NPA is losing on something as simple as a bail application, are they up to the task? So somebody who knows all about criminal law is Advocate Ulrich Roo, the founder and managing director of Ulrich Roo and Associates, who joins us now on the line. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, Ulrich. Let's just go through the basics, because I think sometimes people misunderstand who typically gets bail and who does not.
Good morning, Bongani. Thank you for having me. Yes, I do think that people have a misconception. Bail should never be penal in its nature. So, in other words, a person should not be punished by being refused bail prior to the hearing of the matter and prior to evidence being led during a trial. So, what I mean by that is if a person basically meets the threshold to be released on bail, in other words, he's not a flight risk, there's no evidence that he will tamper with the police investigation or interfere with it, and he's not a threat to society whilst he is on bail and pending the finalization of his trial, then he should be granted bail. If a person is found to be a flight risk or there is evidence that he will threaten witnesses, interfere with the police investigation, obstruct the course of justice, in other words, destroy evidence, etc., then he should be refused bail. But many people who have been released on bail have been convicted in the past and have received due sentences. I don't think that the public must be too perturbed by the fact that Katie Molefe has been granted bail, and yes, there's still a trial that needs to be led by the NPA.
So one of the questions people will have is that, of course, he's already linked to a separate case. I mean, he's already out on 100,000 Rand bail on the Armand Swart case. He's now being linked to these particular murders. Somebody facing those kinds of charges surely can be seen as a threat to society.
Well, the important thing is that the allegations that he's facing, where he has now been released on 400,000 Rand bail, actually or allegedly occurred prior to the Armand Swart incident. So it's not a case of him having allegedly committed another crime whilst being on bail on another matter. So that's a big difference. Of course, if he had been released on bail and then there's strong allegations and there's evidence that he committed another crime whilst on bail in the Armand Swart case, that would have been a different story. But importantly, the judge pointed out in this bail appeal, that the state did not appeal his release on bail in the Armand Swart case. In other words, they accepted the fact that he qualified for bail and accordingly should not be refused bail in this instance.
All right.
Shortly to your point, if a person is released on bail and he commits another Schedule 1 or Schedule 5 or 6 offence whilst on bail, then the chances are very slim that that person would be released on bail again.
The court described the state's opposition in this case as speculative. And I mean, essentially, one of the things the judge was saying was that they're clutching at straws here in some of the arguments they were presenting. What does that tell us about the NPA and how it handles this kind of case?
Well, to me, it is clear that in the bail appeal, the NPA was quite desperate to have him refused bail, and then he should not be released on bail. Of course, there is a lot of pressure on the NPA, with the Madlanga Commission carrying on now with all the state capture matters. There has not been one successful so-called state capture conviction. So there's a lot of pressure on the NPA, and I think that pressure shone through in this bail appeal as well. And what the judge meant by that is that the state alleges that he is a flight risk, but he produced evidence under oath, and it was confirmed by the investigating officer that he merely asked whether the investigating officer had received his passport and whether it's being kept in safekeeping by the investigating officer, not that he was desperate to have his passport back so that he could flee the country, which is what the state tried to allege. So unfortunately for the NPA, when you make allegations both in a bail appeal and during a bail application, that must be backed up by evidence. If it's not, then unfortunately it is quite a blow to your case.
One of the things that we're going to be concerned about as the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry continues, and maybe even recommendations are made, say, in the various interim reports before the final one, because the urgency, or at least the nature of the inquiry, is looking at matters that must be dealt with some urgency. One of the things you'd expect is recommendations for prosecutions. These are complex crimes, these links between the underworld and law enforcement and politics and business. Can the NPA handle those kinds of prosecutions?
Well, as a member of society, one certainly hopes so. And you are right. These are going to be very complex matters that are going to have to be proven in court. There were serious allegations of high-scale corruption amongst South African politicians, high-ranking members in the police force, and then obviously lucrative businessmen. So, one can only hope so, Bongani. The NPA, as I've said, have not been successful in one prosecution in
They've not covered
so-called state
themselves in
capture
glory,
matters.
have they?
And no, they have not. And one hopes that they would be able to get the trained prosecutors with the necessary experience in order to prosecute these matters. But we would have to wait and see if that is going to be the case.
Ulrich, should it be of concern? Because one of the things that is now foremost is the departure of Shamila Batohi as the National Director of Public Prosecutions. As the search is now on for her replacement, should it be a concern that the panel that is going to choose the next top prosecutor is being criticized as lacking not only legal experience broadly, but specifically prosecution experience? Is that something that should worry us?
Yes, certainly. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the decision of who is the new National Director of Public Prosecutions rests with the President of the country, and one can only hope that he takes a lot of advice and all relevant factors into consideration. Certainly, the panel who appoints, advises him on the new NDPP must have the relevant experience as prosecutors and as people who know the South African criminal justice system. Having said that, one would rather that a very extensive process be followed and all factors be taken into consideration when appointing the National Director of Public Prosecutions, and that it is not a quick decision made. We've seen the difficulties with previous National Directors of Public Prosecutions in South Africa, and certainly, as members of the community and society, we do require that a very serious, experienced person is appointed to this very important position.
Ulrich, as a legal eagle yourself, what would you want? What qualities do you think our top prosecutor should possess?
Well, certainly experience. There's, not many things can replace a very experienced prosecutor and a person who has come through the ranks of all the courts and who has been successful in, prosecuting big and high-profile matters in South Africa. So I think there's no replacement for experience, Bongani.
All right, thank you much. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be speaking to the Minister of Justice who chairs that panel about exactly some of those issues. But certainly the NPA now under extreme pressure, and that is going to continue as more revelations and information is made known about some of the wrongdoing happening in the country.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
So that was Ulrich Roux, the founder and managing director of Ulrich Roux and Associates. Coming up, the big interview focuses on what's unfolding protests in Madagascar. And as I say, we'll speak to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development about that panel that must, well, they don't necessarily choose the next top prosecutor, but they'll certainly make a recommendation to the president.
This is EWN.
More bodies found under the wreckage of an overturned bus in Limpopo, and Hamas and Israel will start exchanging hostages this morning. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. We begin with the developing story in Limpopo. The death toll from a bus crash on the N1 highway has risen to 40. It's believed it overturned and landed on the side of the road while traveling between Makhado to Musina last night. Emergency services are currently at the scene searching for more victims. The affected road has been closed off to traffic and motorists are being urged to use alternative routes this morning. The ad hoc committee investigating allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Madlanga Commission will meet today to hear testimony from Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection Shadrack Sibiya. Sibiya's highly anticipated testimony comes not long after the police raided his home in Centurion on Thursday last week to seize devices in connection with a case of defeating the ends of justice. Sibiya's appearance before MPs follows serious allegations leveled against him by Mkhwanazi, who spoke about questionable purchases of properties and the movement of money. Babalondenza reports.
Evidence leader Advocate Norman Arendse held a private consultation with Shadrack Sibiya yesterday before his appearance this week to answer to questions about allegations of malfeasance leveled against him, while KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner Madlanga Commission told the ad hoc committee that he had not yet presented any evidence linking Sibiya to corruption. He called him out for enabling corruption in the police. The committee has also heard how Sibiya was central in the directive from Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the political killings task team. On Friday, ad hoc committee chairperson Sovet Lechanyane said Sibiya would have 2 days to give testimony.
Today is the last day of the week. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, we have a date with General Sibiya.
Sibiya's testimony will be followed by members of the executive, with Minister Mchunu expected to be the first one to take the stand. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News.
Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela has blamed unrest at some universities across the country on corruption and the alleged flouting of tender processes. Manamela made the remarks over the weekend while responding to violent protests at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape and the University of Free State. Fort Hare's Ellis campus has been temporarily shut down since last week following a violent protest over governance issues. More than a dozen of the Free State University students were also arrested while protesting over the institution's proposed scrapping of provisional registration, which comes into effect next year. While Manamela says these issues cannot be downplayed, he says there are also some issues at play.
Some of the violence is not even related to protest, but it's related to the fact that institutions are being seen as business enterprises for infrastructure, for tenders around services, accommodation, and so some of this violence is related to that. And so we have to make sure that universities return to what they've been established for.
And Hamas is set to release all surviving hostages this morning in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. Under the US president's proposed roadmap, once the Palestinian militants have handed over the surviving hostages, Israel will begin releasing around 2,000 detainees in exchange. Israel expects all 20 living hostages to be released to the Red Cross soon. Hamas took more than 250 hostages from Israel in 2023, and that was during attacks that killed more than 1,000 people. Since then, Israel has killed more than 67,000 Palestinians in Gaza and has imprisoned thousands of Palestinians, sometimes without charge, for years. US President Donald Trump is traveling to Israel this morning before heading to Egypt, where the truce was negotiated.
I think they're all tired of fighting, and this really gives the whole Middle East. This is beyond Gaza. Gaza is very important, but this is beyond Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East. And it is a beautiful thing.
Gold is trading at $4,057.20 an ounce. The rand is at 17.37 to the dollar, 23.20 to the pound, 20.18 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.60 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 North. This is between the Baklu interchange and New Road. An accident has been reported between these 2 points. Please be on the lookout there. It's causing about a 15-minute hold-up. As a result, you can try using Woodmead Drive as well as Waterfall Drive to try and avoid this scene. If you are traveling on the Mike 1 North, queuing traffic between Boysons Road and Carr Street.
In your sport, day 2 of the first test underway in Lahore, where Pakistan are 313 for 5 against the Proteas. Later this morning, the Proteas will take on Bangladesh at the Cricket World Cup. Ghana is the 5th African side to book their place at next year's FIFA World Cup. And the Bulls won't have Andre Pollard for their next 3 URC games.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg is at a low of 12 degrees, peaking at 28. Pretoria, 16 and 31. For the Inageng, 14 and 13. The top story in EWN this hour. The death toll from a bus crash on the N1 highway in Limpopo has risen to 40.
EWN, in touch. in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 7 o'clock, it's a Monday. It is the 13th of October, the year of our Lord 2025. I can't even begin to ask what kind of weekend you had, following, of course, the news from this horror crash in Limpopo. Now the death toll rising to 40. Questions will be asked about what led to the overturning of a bus. It landed on its side, and they are still retrieving more bodies from the wreckage and under that bus. We're keeping an eye, of course, on the University of Fort Hare, where the campus remains temporarily shut down following last week's violent protests, where we of course saw some buildings be set alight. The Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela blaming unrest at some of the universities in the country on corruption and the alleged flouting of tender processes. This is what the students were protesting against. And whilst they may have a case or two knowing Sauda, the idea of burning university buildings is one that is still quite unacceptable.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Where's my prize? Donald Trump wanted to know. The White Christ criticizing the Nobel Committee for choosing what they are calling politics over peace. This after, of course, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Venezuelan pro-democracy activist Maria Corina Machado instead of U.S. President Donald Trump, who I understand wasn't really even in contention. He's been more or less campaigning for that prize. He wasn't chosen and probably had a bit of a sulk over the weekend. I want you to listen to the U.S. President Donald Trump opening up about missing out on the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize.
The person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. A very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me, though. I think she might have. She was very nice. And I've been helping her along the way. They need a lot of help in Venezuela. It's a basic disaster. So, and you could also say it was given out for 24, and I was running for office in 24.
He went on to criticize, of course, the fact that Barack Obama got it and he hasn't, and he's done all of this work for peace. And talking about peace, you heard in Eyewitness News, hostages set to be released this morning by Hamas in that exchange with Israel for prisoners. I want you to listen to this report now from Sky News' Middle East correspondent Adam Parsons over the weekend, noting the kind of Gaza the Palestinians are returning to.
When you look at the images coming out of Gaza, I think there are three things that really strike you. Number one is that Gaza is almost like a black and white photo. The palette is so limited. It is a grey land. It goes from the dark hues of scorched buildings and missile strikes through to the light dust. But in the middle is the grey of rubble and devastation, and that is the colour of Gaza. Number two are the people. You might imagine that you'd see faces full of joy about this ability to return and move around, but I haven't really seen that. At best, what I've seen are people who are anxious and pensive, but I've also seen faces of those who've returned, hoping to come back to a home, and what they've discovered is nothing but a pile of rubble. And the third thing that strikes you, looking at all this footage, is the enormous challenge, the devastation. Just seen images of a city block, even more than that has simply been wiped away. There's nothing left. This vast job of rebuilding Gaza is going to take years and years, and I don't think anybody quite knows how it's going to be done. But the even greater damage is probably to the people of Gaza, the emotional and psychological scars that they have suffered. I don't imagine they will ever heal.
That's, of course, Adam Parsons, Sky News' Middle East correspondent, saying people are returning to Gaza to nothing No buses, no houses, no trees, no schools, just grey dust and debris. I mean, it really is the very picture of calamity, is it not? And then, of course, news over the weekend, the Academy Award-winning actress Diane Keaton has died at the age of 79. Most remembered, I suppose, certainly for her role in Annie Hall, which earned her the 1978 Academy Award for Best Actress, but you'll remember her lately in Father of Bride, and So It Goes, The First Wives Club. I want you to listen to this clip from Diane Keaton playing Sybil Stone in The Family Stone, a mother gently telling her son that it's love, not perfection, that truly matters.
I'm sick, honey. And you can't fix it. Not even by getting married. What? I know this is probably a tall order, but I need you to do me a favor and try not to be so perfect. All right? Perfect.
The American singer-songwriter Ashanti Shekwaya, or is it Shekuya, Douglas, celebrates her 45th birthday, born on this day in 1980. How many hit songs? Foolish, Baby, Rock With You, and Always on Time. Also stars in this reality TV series. Amo, have you seen it? Nelly and Ashanti?
No.
It's one of those you don't. If you want to keep liking Ashanti, don't watch Nelly and Ashanti. We Belong Together. It's currently streaming on Showmax. Nelly's this forever boy who doesn't grow up.
Yeah.
And she has to be in a relationship with that kind of, it's just...
You are sending me right there to go watch it because I
Of course
want to
I
see
am.
for myself.
Of course I am.
702. Up next.
The Big Interview.
EWN. Traffic.
That's why we asked you that question earlier. Is there a public figure whose work you admire but whose personal lives you just don't want to know about? Right, it's 14 after 7. This EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand.
Well, traveling in Midrand, Bongani, we've got an accident seen on the N1 North. It happened near New Road. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there. About a 10-minute hold up towards Olifantsfontein Road. If you want to avoid this, please try using Allendale Road as a result, and as well as Olifantsfontein Road towards the city of Tshwane. And then if you're traveling on the southerly direction of this route, queuing traffic between the Brakfontein turnoff and Olifantsfontein Road, these are just peak time delays there. Please be on the lookout. While on the N1 North, heading towards Roodepoort, we've got roadworks taking place near Albertina Sisulu Road, causing delays coming out of the Soweto Highway. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When 55-year-old Stefan got this deal from Outsurance, he grabbed it faster than a green traffic light. He now pays only 611 Rand a month for his 2024 Suzuki Jimny. And after one call, 31-year-old Palisa bagged a bargain of just 926 Rand a month for her 2024 Kia Sonet. Ready to get more out of your car, particularly your insurance? SMS out to 45142 today. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
At Anglo American, we mine more than minerals. We mine possibility and progress with purpose. For over a century, we have been part of South Africa's story, investing in our country's potential and unlocking opportunities together. This year alone, through our Kumba Iron Ore business, we've invested 25.9 billion Rand into South Africa. This includes infrastructure development, education and healthcare, community upliftment, and more. Follow us on our social media channels, Anglo American South Africa, and join the conversation. Anglo American, mining potential, building beyond.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
For the best marine migration, you go to KZN. For the best hiking trails, you go to the Drakensberg. For the best flower show, you go to Namakwaland. And for the best in investments, go to Nedbank. Earn up to 10.47% interest with the Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. For better returns, open an Electronic Optimum Plus account today. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
18 minutes after 7, onto this now. Today we're bringing into focus a dramatic turn in Madagascar's unfolding crisis. Those elite CAPSAT soldiers who once helped President Rajoelina to power have now joined protests from citizens demanding his departure, driving armored vehicles through the capital and refusing to fire on civilians. You remember, of course, the young people there have been protesting against all sorts of things: water, power cuts, and infrastructure. And what will this mean for the island nation? We've invited Dr. Luke Friedman, who's been following developments closely. A very good morning to you. Thank you for your time and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Thank you. Good to speak to you.
All right, can you just give us, firstly, the background to how we got here and how deep a crisis this is for Madagascar?
Madagascar's had successive political crises in its history since independence. Very briefly, 1972, 1991, 2002, 2009, 2025. So this is par for the course. It's a turbulent country politically. This particular crisis started with, as you just mentioned, protests about water cuts, electricity cuts, which were becoming really unbearable. 12 hours a day in some cases. And the protests were led by young people calling themselves Gen Z and taking to the streets in claiming their rights, really not political protests at all, just saying these are our human rights to power, to water, to good education and to good health, organized by these very digital media savvy young people, not hierarchically organized, but egalitarian in their approach, and actually voicing concerns shared by the majority of the population of Madagascar. Madagascar is one of the poorest countries in the world. 80% of the population living under $2 a day. So that's that gives you an indication of the degree of poverty and the degree of desperation in the country that led to these protests. But as I said, this was a young generation, and the government response caused problems.
We know, of course, that these elite soldiers in particular backed the current President Rajoelina in that 2009 coup. And even last week, there were a number of casualties as officers fired into the crowds, the protesters. I think the death toll from the UN, the number was 22 of people who were killed. Is he doubling down on his stance? Is he responding to these calls?
Is Rajoelina responding to these calls? We have heard nothing from President Rajoelina for the last 2 days. The situation was that the protesters were being pushed back systematically and daily by the military police, using tear gas and rubber bullets to repel these peaceful protests. It was at that, after 2 weeks of this, that this elite military army regiment came in and said, enough of that. We can't have the military police firing on our own people. And they came in, cleared the military police out the way and led the crowds into the 13th of May Square, which is a symbolic historical site of protest, and at which point we have a full-on political crisis with President Rajoelina saying that this has been a military coup and him having fled the country.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that story. No doubt, perhaps we'll be speaking to you again in the next couple of days. Dr. Luke Freeman is an expert on Madagascar. He's based at the University College London, but he's also currently in Antananarivo, Madagascar's capital.
702.
The Big Interview
With Bongani Bingwa.
We turn our focus back now to the National Prosecuting Authority because the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Shamila Batoy, is leaving her post in January, and the search is now on for her replacement. What should South Africa look for in our next top prosecutor? And more importantly, who should choose them? President Ramaphosa has come under fire for appointing a panel that will advise him on who to pick. And the criticism is that they have a limited amount of legal experience, and it sparked some questions about its legitimacy. And how does a committee without the legal chops then make the right choice? Chairing that process is the Justice Minister, Mamluko Kubai, who has dismissed some of that criticism and who joins us now. Minister, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Bongani, and good morning to your listeners. I hope I'm audible properly.
You are fantastic.
Thank you.
Critics of this panel are suggesting that it doesn't have all the legal chops required to make this selection to advise the president, however well qualified some of you may be in your areas of particular expertise. What's your response?
That's not correct. You'd note that besides the Chapter 9 institutions and Chapter 10, we've got legal representatives that have been requested to nominate people to serve on the panel. So we do believe that we've got the right people to be able to do the work. We can't have everyone being on the panel. And my issue particularly with Honorable Member Clenis Bredenberg is that you can't have former or current serving prosecutors to come and sit on the panel. It will be unethical because they do have some level of intertwinedness with the institution itself. So you don't want to have an institution particularly that has people who come from there who would have activities that they would want to link with. And part of the issue is because we want to rebuild NPA, not to be entangled with its past that has been divided in the organization and challenges that we've seen over time.
How many of the panelists have some kind of prosecutorial experience?
We don't need prosecutorial experience, Bongani, in terms of work. For example, I'm the minister responsible for the portfolio. I know what is the current requirement in terms of the post. I know what is the current environment and challenges of prosecutors and of the organization. What you are looking for is a leader of an organization. You're looking for a person who's going to be strategic in leadership, because NDPP does not go to court to sit in court. So it's a person, yes, that will have prosecutorial experience, but that's not what we are looking for only. We're looking for a person who will be able to build an organization in the future, because what we are dealing with today and tomorrow of NPA of the future is going to be an organization that understands that we're operating in a digital environment that will need expertise from outside. So if you can say to me, because we are looking for a prosecutor of the future, therefore that person must have digital experience, it's not going to be. Even if there is forensic that the person can be. So you can't say the panel that is choosing must have particular skills, while even the individual who is going to be appointed will not have holistic need that expertise. That's why that person will work with a team of expertise within the organization with various experts. They must just be strategic to know what they are looking for. Similarly with the panel.
Minister, we've seen a number of losses by the NPA for what you might call rank ineptitude in some cases. The most recent one, of course, was just losing that bail appeal in the High Court on Friday. And, of course, as a number of processes that you are well aware of continue to gain momentum, whether it's the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry or even the parliamentary process, I would imagine there will soon be recommendations for prosecutions. Now, you do need someone at the helm of the NPA, whether now or in January, who's going to be able to look at all of the complexity that is involved in terms of these links between, these alleged links between government, business, politics, and the criminal underworld. And certainly that will be the case beyond January. Isn't that why then that matters?
No, definitely what we are looking for going forward, and you correctly reflect. I don't know if you've noticed that NPA recently just advertised posts, for example, data scientists, data research, forensic analysts, all those expertise, because we've realized that those are important to have in an organization, especially under IDEC. So you'd have those so that they can be able to prosecute these criminal activities and actually make sure that we are able to have the proper work that is needed in terms of what can be done by NPA. So that's very critical for us, Bongani. And that's why looking for a person to come in as a NDPP, it's going to be a person that would operate without fear or favor, a person that is going to be independent, a person that is highly technical and highly competent. And that's what we are looking for. A person that would be driven by results, but also we are not only putting a person, but also the issue of repositioning NPA goes together. You would have heard me several times talking about how we want to ensure that the skills that we need, AI, everything that we need, but also the structure of NPA in how it is. For example, one of the things that we are toying with is the rotation of the prosecutors who are heading provinces and areas. For example, you shouldn't have a DPP that is sitting in Limpopo for 10 years, because we do believe that actually exposes them. They start being part of the network and all those things. So there's quite a lot of work in terms of reform for NPA that is coming up.
As we end this conversation, Minister, what is foremost in your mind? If you had to give me one quality in your mind that you think the successful candidate should possess, what would it be? Just one. Sound
legal analysis and understanding of the difficulties we have as a country.
All right, we'll leave it there. That's the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamologu Kubai.
EWN Business.
29 after 7, on to business news now. Mutewa Pick n Pay saying it's expecting lower losses for the first half of the 2026.
Yeah, things are starting to turn around for that 2026 financial year. Retailer Pick n Pay says it's feeling positive about its financial performance, saying it will reduce its interim loss for the first half of the 2026 financial year. The retailer anticipates a loss of between 399 to 479 million, a substantial improvement from the hefty 803 million loss recorded last year. The retailer is in the middle of a recovery plan. Overall, group turnover for the period increased by 4.9%, while like-for-like sales were also up 4.7%. Its subsidiary Boxer having its turnover grow by 13.9%. They've really been the crown jewel for Pick n Pay of late. Online sales also climbing 34%, driven by growth of the Pick n Pay ASAP app and the partnership with Mr. D.
All right, talk to me about the markets. Where's the rand?
Well, the rand at this moment in a very, very good position, despite the chaos that's happening with China and the US. Of course, no trade deal on the table there.
How much is the percentage of the tariffs announced by the US?
100% on Friday.
On Chinese imports.
On Chinese imports. And yesterday, China saying, look, we're ready for a trade war with the US. No one's willing to budge. That's wiped off around $2 trillion of the US market. So, yeah, that's had us shaken as well. JSE down on Friday, but the rand punching above its weight at this hour, 17 Rand 35 against the US dollar, 20 Rand 16 cents against the euro, and 23 Rand 17 cents against the British pound. Price of gold up more than 1%, $4,061 now an ounce, while platinum is up more than 2% at $1,633. Brent crude at $63.59 a barrel. More business after 8.
Just love it when we talk about $2 trillion just poof.
Like it's
disappearing.
nothing.
Like it's nothing. Right, on to sad news now. Sfisa Zulu, more deaths from Limpopo.
That's right, Bongani. There was a bus crash on the N1 highway in Limpopo, and the death toll has now increased to 40. It's believed it overturned and landed on the side of the road while traveling between Makhado and Musina last night. Emergency services are currently at the scene searching for more victims. The affected road has been closed off to traffic. Motorists are being urged to try and use alternative routes this morning. MK MP and former PRASA CEO Lucky Montana is set to again respond to the South African Revenue Service today over an unpaid tax debt of 55 million rand. This follows an unprecedented move by SARS to disclose his confidential tax affairs over the weekend. Part of the dispute involves undeclared income, capital gains from the sale of the 2 properties and the purchase of luxury cars. The tax authority made good on its earlier threats to go public with Montana's non-compliance after he accused SARS of falsifying a court judgment on which a sequestration application was based. That sequestration application allows a court-appointed trustee to temporarily take control of a person's assets until they have paid money that is owed. After Montana failed to retract accusations of maladministration and a witch hunt by SARS against him, the tax agency spokesperson Sipitis Bego had this to say.
It is untenable for Mr. Montana to publicly attack SARS and its official, while simultaneously seeking a compromise of a tax deck he accepts. Dependent on the compromise process Mr. Montana initiated and the outcome thereof.
Gauteng Education Department has ramped up efforts to prepare matric pupils for their final exams. The department says its improved learning programs, study camps and other targeted revision interventions have been instrumental in improving performance throughout the year. While the department says it believes the province is near ready, it has raised concern about the impact of protests in some communities. Thando Ngobo reports.
Some schools in Gauteng are entering the final phase of exam preparation through the Education Department's Just-in-Time program, which includes ongoing sit camps offering focused revision for matriculants. The department says this is to help pupils make up for lost time as a result of disruptions by protests. Chilwane says he remains confident that the interventions implemented throughout the year will help learners perform strongly when the class of 2025 begins their final examinations later this month. Thando Ngobo, Eyewitness News.
South Africa has called for a de-escalation of tensions in Madagascar following 3 weeks of anti-government protests. There have been violent clashes in the capital as protesters confronted police who used tear gas and stun grenades to disperse the crowds. While the protests were triggered by an anger over police brutality and power and water shortages, escalating unrest has since morphed into broader demands for political change. This includes attempts of an alleged coup to unseat President Andre Rajoelina. Dr. Luke Freeman from University College London, who is known for his work in Madagascar, explains the extent of the situation.
And the protests were led by young people calling themselves Gen Z and taking to the streets in claiming their rights, really not political protests at all, just saying these are our human rights to power, to water, to good education and to good health.
Meanwhile, International Relations Ministry spokesperson Crispin Peary says urgent intervention is needed to avoid a humanitarian crisis.
We wish to recall that all the regional conflict resolution mechanisms remain at the disposal of the people of Madagascar to facilitate a dialogue and a peaceful way forward.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 15 degrees, peaking at highs between 28 and 31.
Traffic is heavily backed up on the N1 North. This is between Allendale Road and Olifantsfontein Road. It's due to a major accident right near New Road. It's causing about a 20-minute hold-up. Please be on the lookout there. The southerly direction of this route is heavily affected as well due to onlookers as well as peak time delays.
The top story this hour, the death toll from a bus crash on the N1 highway in Limpopo has risen to 40.
PSG Asset Management sees opportunities others have missed. Like that stock, once up, now down. We thought good price and started our in-depth research there. Turns out it was a quality undervalued company working hard to restore market confidence to deliver soaring returns when they did. Because for us, a good price is just the beginning. To partner with us, contact your financial advisor or visit psg.co.za. PSG Asset Management Pty Limited is an authorized financial services provider and part of PSG Financial Services Group, a licensed controlling company.
Betway's exclusive new games are taking the world by storm. Featuring massive Megaways jackpots. Take your shot on Cash and Riches, Wolf Blaze, Gallo Gold Brunos, and many more incredible experiences for you to choose from. You're guaranteed to find a new ultra fun favorite. Get way more only at Betway. Betway is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. NRGP counseling line 0800 006 008. All events are fixed odds betting games.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Brabongs. I understand the fact that the next National Director of Public Prosecutions might not even need to be a lawyer as per the minister. They only need to have great administrative skills or whatever. But then the panel needs to get someone who understands the knit and grits of the organization. So we're not founding again and having to explain, oh, we have not done this document has not been signed, and so forth. People need to start taking us serious.
Top of the morning, Mr. Bingwa and 702 lenders. Interviews between yourself and Minister Kubai are always invigorating, informative, and insightful. At some point, I think you need to be head DG, yeah? But thanks for a great show. Tempo in Boxburg.
Listening to you and the Minister Mamaloko Kubai. Once a minister starts making a lot of, for an example, in a sentence, more than 5 times, you must know that everything is going down. I don't have any confidence in whatever she was saying. I think she's just trying to brush you off. But whatever it is, let's hope it will work. Good day, Bongani. Have a lovely day.
Look, it was President Ramaphosa who initiated this way of selecting the National Director of Public Prosecutions for the first time in August 2018. Previously, presidents would just simply tell us who they had picked as the top prosecutor. And in the process that selected the current NDPP, you had the former chairperson of the Human Rights Commission, Bongani Bingwa, the former Auditor General, Kimi Makwetu. You had Yap Silias from the General Council of the Bar of South Africa. There was Richard Scott of the Law Society of South Africa. Then, of course, there was the now late Lutendo Sikogo, who was from the Black Lawyers Association. You also had Umvuzo Notyesi from the National Association of Democratic Lawyers, Lawrence Manye from Advocates for Transformation. So from that original list, you had at least 4 experienced lawyers as part of the selection process. This time around, we've got the chair of the Human Rights Commission, the chair of the Commission for Gender Equality. We've got the Auditor General, the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, and they say a representative of the Black Lawyers Association. Who that person is, we don't quite yet know, and a representative of the National Association of Democratic Lawyers. Surely you need somebody with some understanding of how prosecutions ought to work in choosing the person who's going to be in charge of all of them. Or am I the drama?
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance, and it's your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. So first we'll give 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later 2,000 Rand for the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Jairus. Jairus has today's answer. Good morning, Jairus.
Good morning, Bong. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Jairus. Can you give us today's answer?
Today's answer is 1925.
1925. It's not Mahasman,
Yeah.
Oh, full of nonsense. I'm full of nonsense, Jairus. Tell you what, 1,000 Rand is coming your way. All thanks to Outsurance in 702.
Thank you very much, Bong.
Very well done, Jairus, saying today's answer is 1925, not Mahasman. So if the answer is 1925, what's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
All right, Cindy Paluta, I've been watching that test match between Pakistan and South Africa, and it looks like a really, really flat wicket. And I don't know how rapidly it's going to deteriorate come our turn to bat on it. But the Pakistanis really, really on top at the moment.
Oh, they're flying. They're flying. So what did they resume on overnight? About 313 for 5, we said.
Yeah.
They're now 361 for 5.
Goodness me.
Oh, gosh.
So they're accelerating so that obviously they'll put us in.
Salman is there on 84 and Rizwan's on 74.
All the batsmen have scored a century. Not a century, a half a century. A half century, sorry.
5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them have.
Yeah.
Except for the opener who went for 2 and Shaquille who went for a duck.
So there was a bit of a collapse in the beginning, right? With Rabada's bowling.
Yeah. So Shafiq went, for 2, but then the second batsman, Ul Haq, made 93. And then you've got Masood who made 76. Then Azam made 23. And then Shaquille with a duck. And then in the middle now you've got Rizwan on 74 and Salman on 84. So I wouldn't say that there's necessarily been any kind of collapse at all with the Pakistan wicket. We did hear from Simon Harmer in the earlier bulletin, you're right, where he said that they are expecting it to go flatter.
To crumble.
When they bat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then maybe it's the test match to score hundreds.
Well, hopefully for us.
Yes.
Because hopefully
Stays
not for
flat,
Pakistan. Come back. Stop. So that's the score at the moment. At the Women's Cricket World Cup today, the Proteas women are in action. They're taking on Bangladesh. It starts at 11:30. Bola Tuma Sekukone expects a tough match.
We know that they're going to come with much more slow bowlers, typically the spinners. We said as a team that we want to take it one step at a time and one ball at a time. But we just want to, keep ticking all the boxes that we know we didn't do well in the previous games. So if we do that, then hopefully, we come on the better side.
Last night, Australia chased down a women's ODI record 331. They beat India by 3 wickets. In FIFA World Cup qualifiers, Ghana's the 5th African sides booked their spot after beating Comoros 1-0. Kudos with the goal. In the Bafana camp, Tavenda Bolasani is being called up to replace Suspend and Bokazi. Bafana must beat Rwanda tomorrow night and hope Nigeria beats Benin. If Benin win, Bafana then needs results in other groups to go their ways to stand a chance of making the World Cup playoffs as a runner-up. How those 3 points have come back to bite you, eh?
All right. But if we win, we're fine.
No, you still need Nigeria to beat Benin. And because Benin currently tops the group.
Right.
So if Benin wins, then Bafana needs other results in other groups to go their way so they can finish top of the best of the runners-up, because you fielded an ineligible player in March against Lesotho when you won the match, and so FIFA docked you the 3 points, and you wouldn't be in this position if you had your house in order.
Could the Super Eagles be that mean?
Yes. Why? There's no love. Why? What does anyone owe us?
They don't win against Benin, or they don't try to win against Benin.
Well, why not? I say it's hard to throw a sports match, but hey.
Ask Hansi.
I've been corrected. In the United Rugby Championship, the Bulls won't have Andre Pollard for the next 3 games on tour. He's returning home for the birth of his second child. The Stormers were the only South African side to win on the weekend. In tennis at the Shanghai Masters, Coco Gauff beat Jessica Pegula 6-4, 7-5 in the women's final. The men's title was won by world number 204, Valentin Vacherot, who came from a set down to beat his cousin Arthur Renderknecht. Imagine that Christmas. It's the Vacherots and the Renderknechts getting together for Christmas. In netball, Proteas women suffered a White Rose Series defeat. They lost to Australia yesterday in the 3rd test, 65-42. And in golf, Peter Moolman winning his 4th Sunshine Tour title by 2 shots. The final round, 66 to finish 12 under overall. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
The beeping machines, the hospital smells, the moments of fear. And all that remains is what matters most.
Dad's home!
Because recovery isn't about the procedure or the paperwork. It's about getting back to the people and places that matter to you. Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. Voted #1 medical aid in the Ask Africa Orange Index Awards for the 2nd year running. Visit bonitas.co.za and find your plan.
The South African Future Trust Summit is back and bolder than ever. This year, Standard Bank joins as headline sponsor, underscoring the summit's role as South Africa's leading platform for entrepreneurship. On 5 and 6 November at the Sandton Convention Centre, connect with leading entrepreneurs, investors and change makers. This is where bold ideas meet transformative investment. Get your tickets now at summits.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by the new Opel Grandland. With smart tech and striking design, it's German engineering on a grand scale. Test drive one today at your nearest Opel dealer.
Well, traveling out of Soweto, we've got roadworks taking place along the N1 North right near Sisulu Road, and they are causing delays coming out of the Soweto Highway. About a 15-minute hold up there. Please be on the lookout and approach with care. But traveling on the Mark 1 North, we still have got bumper-to-bumper traffic between Boyson's Road and the Empire Road exit. In actual fact, people are trying to avoid the Mark 1 this morning. As a result, Soweto Highway piling up towards the M1 bridge, along with Crownwood Road towards the Mayfair area. So do expect about a 40-minute hold up heading towards the Joburg CBD this morning, especially if you're traveling within the Soweto Highway areas, as well as Crownwood Road and the Mark 1 North. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Great entrance? Forget that. Make a grand entrance.
Grand!
Be late, make everyone wait, and be grateful they did. Peeps be rubbernecking, staring gormlessly like deer in your 50,000 intelligent LED headlights.
Grand!
Make a grand entrance in the new Opel Grandland, designed and made in Germany. Achtung, baby.
Grand!
It's even got massage seats.
Uber grand!
Visit opel.co.za for more.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Stevie, it's Clinton Myers, the Minister of National Treasures.
Mr. Minister, how can Momentum Insure help you?
This economy is not helping with the cost of my gusheshe, my tires, man.
Just get Momentum Insure's safety returns and get up to 30% cash back, even if you claim.
Is it true?
Stru's Bob, Mr. Minister. Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
Lifters turning 5 and we're celebrating with South Africa. Back in 2020, the public chose our name, and now 5 years later, Lyft is inviting you to design a tale of a real Airbus A320. That's right, your design could take to the skies on one of our aircraft. And the best part? The winning designer gets flights for a whole year. Don't miss your chance to leave your mark on South African skies. Visit lyft.co.za to enter today. T's and C's apply.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question. If the answer is 1925. Let's go to Kevin in Florida. Kevin, what's the question?
Hi, Bongani. The question is, in what year was the ex-British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher born and would have celebrated her 100th birthday today?
Yes, indeed. She would have been 100 today. The Iron Lady. Yes, indeed. Kevin, 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance in 702. Yes, indeed. The Iron Lady, the first female British Prime Minister, was in charge from 1979 to 1990, of course, leading the Conservative Party from 1975. I want you to listen to this BBC interview recorded in London, where she reflected on what she thought it takes to lead.
I think sometimes the Prime Minister should be intimidating. There's not much point in being a weak, floppy thing in the chair, is there? But I spent hours getting the facts. I spent hours deploying them. It was known it was my whole approach. I was fascinated by statistics and having had the training in science, first find the facts and then deduce your conclusion. Yes, I would deploy them. Yes, I would argue. I hope formidably. There's nothing wrong in that. What they may be complaining about was that I won the argument sometimes.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that video to download, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 45142. Like 57-year-old Andy, who now pays only 1,083 Rand a month for his 2024 Ford Ranger. With Outsurance Comprehensive, you get 24/7 roadside assistance in case you break down, run out of petrol, lock your keys in the car, and more. Get used to getting more out. SMS out to 45142. After switching, 48-year-old Felicity now pays only 836 Rand a month for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson. Outsurance will either save you money on your car insurance or give you cash. That's right. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
Zahira was tired. So tired, she let her eyes rest a bit. It was bad. So bad. She replaced 4 hours of spreadsheets with... It was bad. So bad. Too bad she didn't have Yoko Counter. It automatically recon sales, tracks stock, and staff performance. So good. Yoko Counter. Super simple POS and payments in one. No contracts, no hidden costs.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that file to download, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 Ford Ranger, 57-year-old Andy now pays only 1,083 Rand a month. And for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson, 48-year-old Felicity pays just 836 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
7 minutes before 8 o'clock. Let's catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bear.
Let's hurry up. Let's hurry up. Let's hurry up.
Let's hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. We got to go. We got to go. Oh gosh, I mean, let's talk about if you're running late for something and you've got to hurry, and you've got to hurry up and you've got to make up time. Does hurrying up actually slow you down? Think about that one for a moment. So, and the reason why we're talking about this is somebody on X put a picture of their jeans, you know, the loop on your jeans where you put your belt, getting caught on a door handle. So you're hurrying up, you're trying to get out, and you move past the door and it catches your loop on your jeans, and then you get stuck and he's like, oh, come on, man, what's going on? This is terrible. And you just get more and more and more and more frustrated. And I mean, I must say, it's never happened to me. I've never had my jeans or pants hoop get caught on a door handle, I must say. But many people on the post can relate to it. Excuse me. So what I wanted to ask this morning is, when you're in a hurry, what are some of the things that you notice that always are there to frustrate you or to slow you down, or you just make it even worse for you when you're in a situation that you need to hurry? For me, if I'm in a hurry and I'm in the car and I'm driving somewhere, there will always be a quid driver that is slowing me down, that I need to get somewhere. That's what I've always noticed. It's always a quid
for me,
some reason.
It's the bag that gets caught in the doorway or in some random cupboard corner, the hook of your, like something, right? Or you can't find the keys, or or the worst is as you're getting dressed, those buttons that can't quite go in. You know, when you're putting, like, maybe say a shirt, right? The button on your wrist. What would you call that button? It's the most difficult one for a long for a long shirt, a long sleeve shirt. Gosh, the English is running away. I had that the other day. I was so frustrated. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting late for the show, and I just can't get this button in. All right, what are those things that get in your way when you are trying to be in a hurry? And tell me, how's this for a birthday gift?
Yeah, I mean, so when it's a young child and maybe a teenager, you know, with a kid, young kid, you often will give a toy or something like that, and they get the toy and they play with it for 5 minutes, and then they move on to the next one. And teenagers, maybe you end up giving clothing or vouchers or whatever it may be, and they like that kind of stuff. But have you ever given a godchild or a niece or nephew a different kind of a gift? And maybe a financial gift, like this guy. He went and bought his, I think it's his niece, 5 NVIDIA shares. Now, that's quite a lot of money if you know the value per share for NVIDIA shares. And he's bought it, put it in her name, and, maybe 10, 15 years from now, those will even triple if the AI bubble that people are saying is coming doesn't happen. It's going to be really, really nice for her, and something she'll be able to use and put to good use other than a toy or whatever it may be. So I wanted to ask our 702 family this morning, have you done something like that? Has your child received a gift like that from somebody that's near and dearest to you? Or do you stick with, the toys, the clothing, all that kind of stuff? Anything interesting that your child has received as a gift, birthday present from somebody that that's near and dear?
All right, so we're not talking toys, but perhaps shares, tax-free savings accounts, that kind of thing, something that can turn into a really fantastic gift later on. What are those? Let us know.
702
Feedback
with Siamtanda Matiso.
Siamtanda Matiso, you and I are here at work because we never got those gifts.
No, not at all. You guys could have done better.
All the uncles listening right now, right?
Thinking about being late, and there's always something happening. I'm the most clumsiest person I know. Just last week, I cut my finger because I was late. So I thought I had much time at home, so I started washing the dishes. Then the transport was at the gate. I had not put on my shoes yet, like my socks or anything. So as I'm trying to wipe my dishes, it fell. I broke it. Then I have another thing now that I'm late off because I need to look for a plaster and something to mend.
And still find your shoes and socks. And
do you get me?
How patient is your transport?
Honestly, he was really patient. He understood when I showed him a picture of my bloody finger. He was like, you know what? I don't know what you were rushing for anyways.
You still had the
time to. I was like, I'm late.
I need proof.
Yes. Anyways,
what else you got?
Lots of reaction, most importantly to your interview with the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development. Many are quite not pleased about how the president is appointing a panel with no legal experience. They feel like it's necessary to have that element or someone with prosecutorial experience. But after hearing the minister, some are actually trusting and feeling confident with this process. So there seems to be mixed reactions when it comes to this. So others reacting to that blank check, like what is that money? That amount of money that would make you quit your job. Some mentioned 500K. I was like more like I was like No. Some mentioned 10 million. Is that still enough ammo for you? Still little? No. Well, others agree with me. $1 billion.
10
but
million.
2 million.
2 million is not enough.
You're gonna invest, Kaloku. You're not gonna blow it.
To make me sit at home, Bongani. And you must remember that I'm still young. Okay. So I'm nowhere near retirement age.
Yeah.
And I still have young children who still need to go to school and post-matric studies as well. They still need to have a life, like travel, go
grow
on
the 10
holiday.
million.
No. 2 billion, then I'm happy.
I can't wait to hear more reactions to that.
All right, more of your calls. And coming up, of course, there'll be a chance for you to win tickets to attend the South Africa Trust Summit. So we'll be giving away tickets to that. It's going to be an incredible event. Those live pitch sessions. There are entrepreneurs who stand the chance to walk away with $1 million investment in their business, and you could be in attendance.
This is EWN.
More bodies found under the wreckage of an overturned bus in Limpopo. And Donald Trump heads to Israel and Egypt as Tel Aviv and Hamas prepare to exchange hostages. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Emergency services are at the scene of a bus crash in Limpopo where at least 40 people have died. It is believed the vehicle overturned and landed on the side of the road on the N1 highway while travelling between Makado to Messina. The road has been closed off to traffic and motorists are being urged to use alternative routes this morning. The ad hoc committee investigating allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Madlanga Commission will meet today to hear testimony from Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection Shadrack Sibia. Sibia's highly anticipated testimony comes not longer after the police raided his home in Centurion last week to seize devices in connection with a case of defeating the ends of justice. Sibia's appearance before MPs follows serious allegations levelled against him by Mkhwanazi, who spoke about questionable purchases of properties and the movement of money. Babalondenza reports.
Evidence leader Advocate Norman Arenser held a private consultation with Shadrack Sibia yesterday before his appearance this week to answer to questions about allegations of malfeasance levelled against him, while KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner Madlanga Commission told the ad hoc committee that he had not yet presented any evidence linking Sibia to corruption. He called him out for enabling corruption in the police. The committee has also heard how Sibia was central in the directive from Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the political killings task team. On Friday, ad hoc committee chairperson Sovet Lechanyane said Sibia would have 2 days to give testimony.
Today is the last day of the week. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, we have a date with General Sibia.
Sibia's testimony will be followed by members of the executive, with Minister Mchunu expected to be the first one to take the stand. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, in Pretoria, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is set to rule on an application for a witness to have highly confidential testimony heard in camera this morning. The commission resumes following a 1-week break. While it remains unclear who the next witness will be, the commission has confirmed it's not crime intelligence boss Dumsane Khumalo, who is yet to conclude his testimony after falling ill 2 weeks ago. Oren Singh reports.
Evidence leaders are expected to argue that the witness's testimony will include sensitive information related to covert police operations and therefore cannot be made public. It's likely that the witness forms part of either the Gauteng counterintelligence team, who are the driving force behind unraveling criminal syndicates in the province, or a member of the KZN political killings task team. Both units have featured prominently in testimony before the commission so far. National Police Commissioner Fani Masimola, KZN Police Boss Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and Crime Intelligence Head Dumisani Khumalo have all vouched for the specialized units. EWN understands that the witness is likely to testify for several days and even possibly a week. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela has blamed unrest at some universities across the country on corruption and the alleged flouting of tender processes. Manamela made the remarks over the weekend while responding to violent protests at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape and the University of Free State. Fort Hare's Ellis campus has been temporarily shut since last week following a violent protest over governance issues. Meanwhile, more than a dozen Free State students were arrested while protesting over the university's proposed scrapping of provisional registration, which comes into effect next year. While Manamela says these issues cannot be downplayed, he says there is also more at play.
Some of the violence is not even related to protest, but it's related to the fact that institutions are being seen as business enterprises for infrastructure, for tenders around services, accommodation, and so some of this violence is related to that. And so we have to make sure that universities return to what they've been established for.
And the Israeli military says a Red Cross convoy is on its way to pick up the first batch of hostages to be freed by Hamas as part of a Gaza ceasefire deal. An army statement says the handover will take place at a meeting point in the northern Gaza Strip where several hostages will be transferred. Hamas's armed wing has published a list of 20 surviving hostages that it intends to release. Under the U.S. president's proposed roadmap, once the Palestinian militants have handed over the surviving hostages, Israel will begin releasing releasing around 2,000 Palestinians from its prisons. Hamas took more than 250 hostages from Israel in 2023 during attacks that have killed more than 1,000 people. And since then, Israel has killed more than 67,000 Palestinians in Gaza and has jailed thousands of Palestinians, sometimes without charge, for years. U.S. President Donald Trump is traveling to Israel this morning before heading to Egypt, where the truce was negotiated.
The war is over, okay? Do you understand that? But I think people are tired of it. It's been centuries, okay? Not just recent, it's been centuries. I think people are tired of it. Yeah, the ceasefire is going to hold.
Gold is trading at $4,057.96 an ounce. The rand is at 17.34 to the dollar, 23.16 to the pound, 20.14 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.67 a barrel.
And in the traffic in the city of Tshwane, there's been an accident on the R21 South after the flying saucer interchange is causing delays. There's also queuing traffic due to peak time pressure along the N1 South between the Proof Plus interchange and the flying saucer turnoff.
And in your sport, Proteas spinner Sinaran Muthsami takes 3 wickets in 1 over and 5 for the match as Pakistan are now 364 for 8. At the Women's Cricket World Cup today, the Proteas women are playing Bangladesh from 11:30. And Ghana beat Comoros 1-0 to be the 5th African side to qualify for next year's FIFA World Cup.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 28 and 31 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Emergency services are at the scene of a bus crash in Limpopo where at least 40 people have died.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 8 o'clock, we're keeping an eye on the death toll in that horror bus crash from Limpopo. That number, as I said earlier, unfortunately expected to rise. I think when we started the show, it was sitting at 33. It has now gone up all the way to 42. They're still, of course, retrieving bodies from underneath that bus. It really is a tragic story. We'll certainly keep an eye on it. Details as they emerge, you'll hear them here on 702 throughout the day. I told you a little earlier on that it was on this day in 1990, the first gay and lesbian pride march taking place in South Africa. In fact, it was the first around the continent, and one of the activists who were featured there included people, well, some of the activists included people like the later Constitutional Court Justice Edwin Cameron, who was there, activists like Bev Dizia, and of course Simon Ngodi. I want you to listen to this interview from 1989, speaking to Chris Vogel, Simon Ngodi, the fearless gay South African anti-apartheid activist who fought both racial segregation and homophobia.
Maybe I should really tell you why I became so much interested on setting up a gay organization or becoming a member of a gay organization. I looked at the way I, as a person, struggled to come out, all the fight, all the emotional I went through. And I said, hang on, I wasn't alone on that situation, or I couldn't have been alone, you know. There must be other gay people who find themselves in the same situation as I am. And at the time when I thought of becoming a member of a gay organization, I was already went through many difficulties in my community.
Of course, what happened was he had joined a largely white gay association of South Africa and then went on to form the Saturday Group, which was one of the first black gay organizations on the continent. Until then, it had been the black members who'd had to travel to white areas for events. But the Saturday Group brought visibility home.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
10 after 8, we've asked so many questions this morning. Those celebrities, public figures whose work you love, but whose personal lives you'd really rather not know about. For me, I was cured of all reality shows with celebrities, with being Bobby Brown. when it showed us the life of Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. I was not interested. Which one for you has sort of soured your view of this person that you once admired? Kabazela says, what are those things that get in your way when you're trying to hurry up? You're in a rush. For me, it's the long sleeve shirt cuff button. The struggles you have with that thing at 4 o'clock in the morning when there's no one to say, just put this button in for me, right? What are those things that make you struggle when you're in a hurry? Have you ever had your bag, as you're rushing, it gets caught up like in say, a kitchen drawer, right? Handle or a door handle. And either the bag rips or the handle rips. And you just, one more thing to make you scream, right? As you are in a hurry. You know what my favorite is?
Mm-hmm.
It's when somebody phones you and they say, Amo, where are you? Perhaps you're running late for whatever meeting or appointment. Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
And you say, look, I'm in traffic, whatever the reason is, right? And then they phone you 5 minutes later. Where are you now? And I always say, you do realize these phone calls aren't going to get me there faster.
They're not helping.
Right? Whatever has delayed me is frustrating enough, presumably. But the repeated calls to say, where are you? Where are you? How far are you now? How far? No, not going to get me there faster.
If I'm leaving with my kids and on the last minute we are running late and they say, I have to use the loo, I have to use the bathroom, and I have to go. Bongani, I'm just like, out of all the time you could have thought of, we are running late. Now you want to use the bathroom. You're going to delay us because you're going to take time in the bathroom as well.
Your kids are smart. Because usually what happens as you're about to leave the door,
Mm-hmm.
usually it's the parent who says, have you guys peed? Right? Have you gone to the bathroom? What you don't want is to be in the car.
And then they need to go.
As you turn the corner around your street, then oopsie, then you have to go back home.
And also doing your makeup and then you run your mascara over your cheeks.
I must say, Mateo, that hasn't happened to me.
The worst you can ever
No,
have.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
We'll take your WhatsApp voice notes on 072-702-1702. You're in a hurry. What are those things that most often delay you, Mateo?
For me, it's to not drink anything while that is happening. If I'm about to leave a place, I'm not touching anything. No last sip of coffee, nothing. I broke that rule about 2 months ago.
Yeah, what happens if you sip something?
I spilled it on my shirt. So I had to go buy another shirt before going to where I was going because
there's nothing like, especially if it's a white shirt, right?
Yeah,
there's nothing like
you
a
can't hide
coffee
it.
spill. Right, okay, gotcha. And has your child received a really creative gift from an uncle, family, friend? We're not talking toys, perhaps shares or a tax saving account or something of that sort. That's the kind of gift Mateo should be giving, actually.
Own kids.
and those of others.
Right?
Yes.
You're that uncle, Mateo. Come on. Some shares nyan.
Bongani, I don't have 2 billion that Amu has, eh?
Ooh, Kabazela, not quit drivers catching strays, but I can absolutely relate to what you're saying. We were late this morning for the school drop-off, and it's the first day back at school for the last term of the year. And yeah, there was definitely a slow driver in front of me. Not a quit driver though, but it was a slow driver, and I was absolutely frustrated.
Hi, Bongani. You know, one of the things that will frustrate me when I'm in a hurry is the wife. You know, when you're traveling with missus and then you're in a hurry and she just relaxed and I hear the buttons and pants getting caught on the door by their loops, but the wife, I can't have fun.
Morning, Bongani and the team and the listeners. To answer Kabazela's question, for me, it's the keys. The keys, they're giving me stress, eh? And I try so hard to make sure that I keep them in one place. But just on that day where I did not put them where they're supposed to be, I would look for the keys under the bed. I would go to the bathroom. I would go to the bedroom. I would go everywhere, even in the dustbin, and only to find that the keys are just underneath my laptop bag. Keys, Shem. They give me a tough time.
Good morning, Bongani and Kabazela. It is the robots. When I'm in a hurry, all the robots, for some reason, will be red. Yo!
It's 8:15. We're taking your calls on 011 883 0702, your WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702. I'm at that age because I'm now 51. I have established routines around things like keys, right? I know when I come home, I know exactly where to put both my house keys and my car keys. I do not change where I put the house keys, say even in the car, right? I have these, and I promise you now, if I mess that up, if I forget, if I say I come in through maybe the back door, right, in the kitchen door, and I leave them on the kitchen counter, I will regret it. I always regret. So I've got these routines of things that I do
You need
to
to
make
follow,
sure.
yeah.
I'm obsessive with it, right? If I come through the front door, I must come through the front door, and the first thing I do when I get home is I go and place the keys in their one spot where they cannot move. Otherwise, it's tickets. But I understand what that other voice note says about the wife. It was always the bags.
Changing the bags.
Always the bags.
My purse was in the other bag.
Yeah. The wallet is in the other bag, or something was always in the other bag. It was always
And it
the
wasn't
bags.
moved to the bag I
So
have
if the
now.
wife is delaying you, look at the bags.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Morning, Bongani, Kabazela, and the team. This is such a great topic. So, unfortunately, I wouldn't be going to work if I also got 5 shares of something in the past. But when my little one was turning 1 a couple of years ago, I requested that everybody that was buying him presents for the birthday party that we were hosting should kind of deposit the money. If interested, if they really wanted to purchase something, we would appreciate it if they put in the money into his investment account. I opened that account in his name the day I received his ID number and do the investments myself. So far, so good. And so, not so much so of a gift for a birthday, but I'm using my sister's car. She was so generous enough to say I could use her car. And in return, I opened up an investment account for my nephew. And on a monthly basis that I'm using the car, I put in money in there and I invest for him in both tax-free and equities. So yeah, I think it's a great gift that anyone can give nowadays. And I also give it to friends' children as well as a gift, money in investments or savings if they do have.
Why can't I have sisters like you guys? Right? I love that. So the one gives the car for her sister to use, and as a display of gratitude, she's opened this investment account for her nephew. Don't you want sisters like that?
EWN Traffic.
Coming up, who'll be the next winner of 5 tickets to the SA Future Trust Summit at the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November. Stay tuned to find out on 702. There are delays in the capital, Amo.
That's correct, Bongani. The R21 South, an accident reported near Nelmapius Drive, delays from the Flying Saucer interchange. As a result, traffic is also backed up on the alternative route, Boeing Street. This is just as you leave the N1 exit. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the N1 South, we've got roadworks after the Flying Saucer turn off. Delays towards Bota Avenue. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the N1 South towards Midrand, delays between Brakfontein Interchange and Olifantsfontein Road. While the good news is that the accident that was on the N1 North has been cleared. It happened just before New Road, but it's now being cleared. Traffic is a bit slow though. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The South African Future Trust Summit, in partnership with Standard Bank, returns to the Sandton Convention Centre, as I say, on the 5th and 6th of November. Now, if you haven't bought tickets yet, well, here's a chance to walk away with 5 of them. Send us a WhatsApp to 072 702 1702 telling us how you would benefit from attending this event. Make sure to include the keyword SAFT with your name and ID number. The South African Future Trust Summit 2025, where bold ideas meet transformative investment. On 702, T's and C's apply.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Stamina Grow is a 5-in-1 supplement with amino acids, antioxidants, B vitamins, and other essential vitamins and minerals that help promote energy, well-being, immune defense, and mental vitality. Stamina Grow, 22 years of supporting Mzansi, ranked among the top 5 best-performing multivitamin brands in South Africa. Stamina Grow, grow for it.
Ask yourself, what matters most? Is it being there for their first steps and still around for their first dance? Knowing you're not just covered, but cared for. Bonitas goes beyond benefits and claims. We're in your corner for what matters most. Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. Voted #1 medical aid in the Ask Africa Orange Index Awards for the 2nd year running. Visit bonitas.co.za and find your plan.
Looking for real ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with the people making real change. So Green Tip of the Week, you can catch it every Tuesday on Afternoon Drive with John Pullman between 3 and 6 p.m. Only on 702, and it's proudly brought to you by Volvo. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
702. The World View
with Adam Gilchrist.
All right, let's catch up with news from the rest of the world. Adam Gilchrist, no doubt everyone is going to be watching what unfolds in the Middle East today. Gaza on a knife edge as that hostage exchange is expected to happen.
Yeah, it looks like just in the last half hour, it's been confirmed that 7 living hostages have been released to the Red Cross, are being driven from Gaza in ambulances across to a hospital in main Israel itself. And then ultimately there'll be, we think, a reunion in what they call Hostages Square in Tel Aviv. There are a lot of people gathered there to celebrate. The fact is the release seems to be absolutely happening. So that's 20 living hostages, 46 bodies or remains of hostages killed at some point in the last 2 years, but also 2 we don't know about. We don't know whether they're alive or dead, but there is the question mark over those 2. At the same time, 250 long-term Palestinian prisoners are being released. Some of them are going to be deported. We don't know where to. 1,700 Gazan detainees are also being released. They're sort of different somehow to the others because they weren't convicted of actual crimes, if I can put it like that. Where Israeli troops now withdraw to, we still don't know the line of that. We don't know what happens in the second phase of all this. That still has to be worked out, presumably in Doha again, with the mediators coming together. But Donald Trump proclaiming that this is the end of the war. Do you know what that means? I mean, he had a bit of integrity in sort of downplaying his own role, saying he was honored to be a part of this. But actually, it does at this stage look very positive, lots of ticks in boxes, but there's still a lot to happen, a long way to go.
All right, from peace to more conflict, I'm afraid. Adam, talk to me about the Taliban versus Pakistan.
Just what the Middle East needed, eh? Yeah, another powder keg. So here we have the Taliban government confirming that it's attacked Pakistani troops in multiple mountainous locations. A Taliban spokesman saying 58 Pakistani military personnel have been killed. Pakistan itself saying it's less than half that number. The Taliban says it was an act of retaliation because Pakistan had bombed a market inside its border in Afghanistan on Thursday. Pakistan denying any kind of unprovoked action, saying that it's the Taliban who is unprovoked, warning that his forces will respond with a stone for every brick. So we have a war of words as well as an actual conflict. But Islamabad accuses Kabul of harboring terrorists who target Pakistan on its soil. So we do have this problem. I mean, it's a border problem that's been going on for quite a long time. And by quite a long time, I mean hundreds of years. But nonetheless, this suddenly seems to be a bit of an upsurge. It might just take some talking and some downplaying to get this to come to a peaceful resolution.
And a Hollywood legend leaves us. Adam?
Oh, Diane Keaton. Wasn't she the kind of person, I mean, I don't know, obviously didn't know her personally, but she absolutely looked like the kind of Hollywood star, unlike 99.9% of them, who you could have a proper chat with and a good giggle. Diane Keaton just looked like she was warm and kind and cuddly, and she had all those fantastic film roles and the Woody Allen comedies to start with, where she was fun and kooky, like Annie Hall, where she won her Oscar, Sleeper, Love and Death, which I love, complex and interesting in Reds and in the Godfather films, of course, early on in her career. Then she was kind of astute but still cute in The First Wives Club and Father of the Bride and so forth. And the tributes have been extraordinary. Goldie Hawn called her a trail of fairy dust filled with particles of light. Bette Midler called her brilliant, beautiful, and extraordinary. Ben Stiller says she was an icon of style and humor and comedy. And that style thing you think about with Diane Keaton was her own. She brought that to the Woody Allen films. He basically said, you can do what you like. Jane Fonda called her a spark of life and light. And I have to say, amongst all the other films that she was fabulous in, I do like, I think the only Christmas film she made, The Family Stone. She's not necessarily, it's an ensemble piece, so it's not a Diane Keaton film, as it were, but she's so nice in that, so warm and sensitive. And, you know, that's what she was, wasn't it?
Yeah, indeed, playing Sybil Stone there. Remember that one very well. My favorite is her opposite, Jack Nicholson, of course, in that comedy about finding love later in life. She was an absolute gem, was Diane Keaton. Thank you, Adam. That's this morning's World View.
EWN Business.
All right, 27 after 8. Let's wrap up business news for the morning. Mutero, China saying it is up for a trade war with the US. I mean, we've seen this seesaw for months now, and the heat is on.
And nobody's willing to budge. Bongani, President Donald Trump's announcement to raise tariffs by 100% on Chinese imports wiped off around $2 trillion from U.S. markets on Friday. A spokesperson for China's Ministry of Commerce accused the U.S. of a textbook double standard. The two nations have been meeting in the past few months, trying to come to a trade agreement. The U.S. is trying to also push China to open the market towards rare earth minerals. China holding back those minerals as part of this trade war. Around 70% of the global supply of rare earth minerals comes from China. The minerals are essentials for high-tech industries, including electric cars, defense systems, and chips and semiconductors. Now, on Sunday, Chinese authorities made it clear that Beijing is not afraid of a trade war with Washington.
Goodness me. And the rest of us, of course, what do they say about when the elephants fight?
Grass suffers.
The ants, anyway, get crushed, don't they? All right, Pick and Pay, turning the situation around. I mean, they're not quite over the line yet, but they're saying lower losses this time around.
Yeah, they're in a recovery plan, and it's starting to show some green shoots for them. Retailer Pick and Pay saying it's feeling positive about its financial performance, saying it will reduce its interim loss for the first half of its 2026 financial year. The retailer anticipates a loss of between 399 and 479 million rand, which sounds like a lot, but a substantial improvement from the hefty 803 million rand loss recorded last year. Overall, group turnover for the period increased by 5%, while like-for-like sales were up 4.7%. Its subsidiary Boxer has really been doing well. They'll release results later today, growing turnover by 14%.
All right, your indicators?
Rand at 17 Rand 35, up close to 1% against the US dollar. 20 Rand 15 cents against the euro, and 23 Rand 16 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,063 an ounce is up more than 1%, with platinum up close to 3% now at $1,644. Brent crude at $63.59 a barrel. That's your morning business. Stephen Grotes will take care of business this afternoon.
Coming up, of course, a chance for you to win tickets to the South African Future Trust Summit in partnership with Standard Bank. That's taking place at the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November. And also, we speak to a real housewife a little later on in the show. Nikki Lee Watson is going to be joining us in studio as the new head of marketing and comms at City Polo. That's all to come. In the meantime, Sfiso Zulu, where are we now in terms of just that horror crash on the N1 in Limpopo. What numbers do you have for us?
Thanks, Bongani. Well, 42 bodies have been pulled from the wreckage of that bus crash on the N1 highway in Limpopo. The Road Traffic Management Corporation says the bus was traveling on a steep road when it overturned last night. The passengers were traveling from the Eastern Cape to Harare in Zimbabwe. Our TMC spokesperson Simon Zwane says emergency services are still working at the scene.
49 other people were taken to various hospitals in Louis Trichardt, Siloam and Elim. The exact cause of the crash has not been determined. Investigations are ongoing.
Gauteng Education MEC Madume Chilwane says the province continues to face immense pressure on school placements. There are more than 40,000 applications exceeding available capacity at schools for next year's academic year. Speaking during a media briefing yesterday, Chilwane said despite the department's efforts to expand capacity, many schools cannot meet the demand at this stage.
So when it says this is the capacity, it is the capacity. So once the school reaches its full capacity, we are not going to stretch it.
The Good Party has accused lobby group AfriForum of attempting to whitewash members of the apartheid security force accused of committing heinous crimes. This follows AfriForum's formal submission to the inquiry into Truth and Reconciliation Commission cases, calling for a counter-probe into ANC leaders. The inquiry was set up earlier this year to investigate allegations of interference and efforts to stop the prosecution of TRC cases. AfriForum CEO Kali Kriel says the ANC has its own crimes to answer to.
In the same manner, the families of victims of ANC landmine and bomb attacks also deserve answers.
But Good Party Secretary General Brett Herron has described the move as a political extortion to shield members of the apartheid security branch from accountability rather than a bid for justice. MK MP and former PRASA CEO Lucky Montana is set to again respond to the South African Revenue Service today over an unpaid tax debt of 55 million rand. This follows an unprecedented move by SARS to disclose Montana's confidential tax affairs over the weekend. Part of the dispute involves undeclared income, capital gains from the sale of 2 properties and the purchase of luxury cars. The tax authority made good on its earlier threats to go public with Montana's non-compliance after he accused SARS of falsifying a court judgment on which a sequestration application was based. After Montana failed to retract accusations of maladministration and a witch hunt by SARS against him, the tax agency spokesperson Sipiti Sbeko has this to say.
It is untenable for Mr. Montana to publicly attack SARS and its official, while simultaneously seeking a compromise of a tax debt he accepts. Dependent on the compromise process Mr. Montana initiated and the outcome thereof.
And 15 people have died in Ghana, including children, when a boat capsized on a lake. Preliminary findings suggest that the boat was overloaded while traveling from Ukuma to Bovime in the northeastern part of the country. Maritime authorities say the children were aged between 2 and 14 years. Boat disasters are common in the country, often caused by overloading and collisions with tree stumps. Last month, 6 passengers died in a similar crash. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 28 and 31 degrees.
There's more than a 10-minute hold-up on the N3, both directions between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu interchange, and that's due to those roadworks that are taking place between these 2 points. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. If you're heading towards areas like Woodmead as well as Sunny Hill, try sticking onto the Mark 1 North instead. While traveling on the N1 North, we've got delays between Malibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive due to peak time delays.
The top story this hour, 42 bodies have been pulled from the wreckage of a bus crash on the N1 highway in Limpopo.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for optometrists, surgeons, and other medical specialists. Here's Chrissy.
Business Outsurance is the best insurer for my business. They have great premiums, wonderful service. I know without a doubt that Outsurance has my back, and you always get something out with Outsurance.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring Izinga Assist. Their CEO and founder, Derek Lubner, will be in conversation with me, Bongani Bingwa, and we do this on Wednesdays to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Cares is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi, Bongani. So basically, what the MP is looking for is like saying we need someone with no medical experience to run up a surgical ward, or someone with no experience to be a police minister, which we currently have in this country. So it just goes back to how the ANC runs the country, I suppose. Thank you.
Morning, Bongani. Morning, 702 fam. Stephen here. Bongani, it's not you. You're not bringing the drama. The president's created this drama around the new National Director of Public Prosecutions. I mean, why has he started the process so late would be the first thing. And then it's so obvious you need a prosecutor, someone with experience. Like the country's top lawyers need to select what will be government's sort of, the NPA, our top lawyer. They need to be involved in this. I mean, I just don't understand. And then Mamaloko Kubai mentions AI. Come on. Seriously. Anyway, see you later. Cheers.
Morning, Bongani. The perfect next NDPP to replace Shamila Batoy. Let's get Herinel in there. Herinel to go after all these corrupt criminals and cadres in government. Thanks, Bongani.
Bongani, I think someone for the NPA position should have the qualities of the likes of Thuli Madonsela for sure. Shamila Batoy, well, what can we say? I mean, you came in all guns blazing into the position. You're going to have people in orange overalls within 6 months. Yeah, well, look where we are. So, lost cause. Definitely a political appointed person. I just worry that because our judicial system is so captured, if the true people who should be in those positions will ever get the opportunity. I mean, if we've seen what's happening with the Madlanga Commission, etc., it's scary, it's heartbreaking, but yeah, it had to happen. And I don't know where to from here. Take care. Enjoy the day. Bye.
I don't know if you can go so far as to say our judicial system is captured. I think there have been questions around allegations that have been made. We don't yet know to what degree or how seriously we can take some of those. I wouldn't go so far as to say the bench in general has been captured. But let's not forget, the NPA was hollowed out. I mean, if you're going to go back to the times of Lawrence Mkhwebi and what was the other acting NDPP? Nom Gobochiba. That's the name that was running away in my mind. Some of the people they would have appointed in those institutions are still there, and so part of the fight, I would imagine, that any NDPP has is to deal with the legacy appointments from when they were trying to denude the NPA of its ability to prosecute these kinds of cases, particularly the complex ones, successfully. How on earth you can justify not having people with a legal background in helping make that choice is really difficult to understand.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Hi, Bongani. I agree with the other caller that I need to be Amu's friend. I'll just tell the interest on the rest, the capital she can keep. And just for her benefit, she can spend 54,000 rand a day for the next 100 years. And yeah, she's cool. So if she's worried about her kids going to varsity and whatnot, they are cool. They're okay for the next 100 years. Thanks. Cheers. Bye.
Is this now a 2 billion or 10 million? Because that's what I'm not clear on.
I think he's speaking on the 2 billion.
Of the 2 billion.
Yeah.
All right. So no, 2 billion will cover you. If 2 billion doesn't cover you, then you are an expensive person, my friend. At Watura, I can't afford you.
That's exactly why I said 2 billion. It will cover me.
We can't afford. Can EWN afford you? That's the question.
EWN Sport.
Right, it looked pretty dim just 20 minutes ago. Cindy Paluta, well, in fact, an hour ago when you and I last spoke. But
You're the good luck charm.
Hey?
You're the good luck charm. You were like,
dim.
oh, the wicket, blah, 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 blah. They're going to keep going. And then you were like, I hope you can score on this lot. And then by the time I got to my desk, okay, so to paint a picture, the 702 studio is on the ground floor. My desk's on the first floor. It takes me about 3 minutes to 4 minutes to get to my desk. By the time I got to my desk and I looked up, Muthami had taken 2 wickets. And then I looked up again and he took 3 in the same over.
Was it a hat trick?
No.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know.
3 in the same over.
I was
That's
busy
pretty
working.
impressive.
I will have to look it up. But
yeah, because when you left, it was 361 for 5.
yes.
An hour ago.
Was it?
Yeah, it was 361
Okay,
for
hold on,
5
let's
an
see.
hour ago.
It was 344 for 5, and then it climbed quickly, and then was 378 all out.
Well done to the Proteas.
378 all out on day 2 of the first test. That's what Pakistan asked. Sanared Muthami ended up taking 6 in the match. And as I said, he took 3 in 1 over for Pakistan. Ul Haq and Aga both made 93. Masood made 76. Rizwan made 75.
So let's see how good this pitch really is when our batters get a go. At least for the first innings.
Yes, let's hope.
We've got to get a great first innings score. And I mean, this is probably one of those we may even try to play for a draw. But what you don't want to do is to be batting on this thing on the last day on a turning wicket.
You don't. Elsewhere, the West Indies are 252 for 3 in their second innings on day 4. They were forced to follow on their trail India by 18 runs at lunch. At the Women's Cricket World Cup today, the Proteas women are taking on Bangladesh. It starts at 11:30 a.m. Bola Tumesekakone.
I think the team is super excited. I think we're looking forward to all these other games. I think we actually took the win, but we don't really want to dwell on the win. We want to focus on other matches as they are as important as the one that we played.
Last night, Australia set another record, chasing down 331, the highest run chase in women's ODI cricket, to beat India by 3 wickets. In the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, Ghana is the 5th African side to book their spot after they beat Comoros 1-0. Kudus with the goal. In the Bafana camp, defender Molasani is being called up to replace suspended Mbokazi. In golf, Peter Millman won his 4th Sunshine Tour title by 2 shots. He shot a final round 66 to finish 12 under overall. And in tennis, the Shanghai Masters, Coco Gauff beating Jessica Pegula in the women's final. The men's title was won by the 204th seed, Valentine Vacherot. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
18 to 9. Let's wrap up the morning's traffic. It's been a busy Monday, Amo.
It has been indeed, Bongani, considering most schools have reopened today, and that's the reason why we're seeing longer peak time delays, like on the Mike North, queuing traffic still between the Crown Interchange and Empire Road. There's also queuing traffic along the M2 West. This is between Heidelberg Road and the Crown turnoff. Traveling on the N3, remember we've got those roadworks taking place along the N3 route right near the Baklu Interchange. The southerly direction of this route is also backed up as a result, so do expect about a 40-minute hold up there. While traveling on the N1 North, more delays between Malibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive due to peak time pressure. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Insurance claims are stressful enough. Well, fortunately, with Outsurance Business Insurance, when you claim, your excess is a fixed amount, not a percentage of the claim. For medical specialities like dental, physiotherapy, surgical, and other industries, Outsurance Business Insurance are trusted experts in insuring your business. Get more out of your business insurance. Get a quick and easy quote today. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. A licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Huawei Watch GT6 Series, 2025's must-have smartwatch, introducing the King of Power. Up to 21 days of unstoppable battery life in a sleek titanium and ceramic design that's as strong as it's stylish. The Trackmaster with 24/7 heart rate tracking, sleep monitoring, advanced health management, and the world's first cycling virtual power feature. Fully compatible with both iOS and Android. Get yours now from just 169 Rand a month over 36 months or 4,999 Rand at selected retailers. T's and C's apply.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Coming up between 9 and 12 is the Clement Manyatela Show. Clement is in the hot seat. Did you have a good weekend?
Oh, I had a beautiful weekend.
What did you get up to?
I was in Cape Town since Thursday, so I just rested.
What was the weather like over the weekend in Cape Town?
Beautiful.
Oh, really?
Beautiful.
Sunny,
When
gorgeous.
I actually flew out on Thursday, it was raining in Joburg.
Yeah.
And I arrived, it was a
sunny
Cape Town.
I love
Since.
Listen, glorious
until
sunny
yesterday.
Cape Town is unmatched. I
Right?
can tell you. We've had wet weather and overcast conditions most of the weekend, although I welcome the rain. I had book club yesterday, so that was
what are you
absolutely
guys reading
lovely.
now?
We just read a Zeksimda,
Which?
Little Sons, which is absolutely fantastic because one of the things that book does is it gives you a sense of South African lineages. And he does this incredible thing where he goes into the archives and he does a whole lot of research and then tells a fictional tale around historical events.
I love that.
And it gives you a real window into what life would have been like in the 1800s. Absolutely fantastic.
Like what he did
book.
with The Heart of Redness. Just, fusing that historical facts with fiction. Fictional
Madonna of
characters.
Excelsior, all of that. I think it's our third Zeksimda book
Beautiful.
that we read. What's on the show?
So coming up on the show today, it's D-Day in the Middle East as per the US President Donald Trump's plan. The first phase should be taking off today where there's an exchange of the hostages are being released and the political prisoners also being released.
You know what I've been wondering all along? If you look at the pictures of Gaza, I think, where do they keep the hostages?
I don't know. But
right?
Apparently there are bunkers.
Underground, yeah. But it's just one of those.
But also with how advanced the Israeli intelligence is, a bit of me is also surprised that they've not been able to figure out
you would think with
where they are.
Geothermal, heat sensor, whatever,
Yeah. And I mean, they've managed to kill a number of Hamas leaders, whether in other host countries. I mean, they tried in Qatar recently.
Yeah.
So they always get information about where the senior leaders of Hamas are, but for some reason they haven't figured out the hostages.
Anyway.
But probably somewhere in the bunkers. We don't know. So that's what we're going to be looking at today on the 702 open line. We're also going to be preempting and looking ahead to General Shadrach Sibiya's testimony in that parliamentary inquiry. But at 10 o'clock, we're going to talk about the Social Development Department. It's been going from scandal to scandal. Now, the latest is that the DG signed...
threatening. No, so what was that?
So there's a
also that phone
parliamentary
call.
officer who was threatening Ulumka, Oliphant. But the DG now signed a 1-year contract because he's about to retire. And he failed a psychometric test. But actually, he signed a 5-year contract for himself. Cabinet said you can only be a DG for a year. But the minister and him agreed to a 5-year, which is against the law. Now the minister, Egon Hefei, now says, I'm taking action against you, DG, because you should have figured that out. As if the DG signed the contract by himself. So we're going to
Wait. She signed his renewal
Yes.
for 5 years.
Yes.
And now she's upset with him.
Why did you sign for 5 years?
Why did you make me sign for 5 years?
Sign you for 5 years. Because they're now caught. They clearly, probably here, because Cabinet said 1-year contract, because this man is about to retire. But also there's new information that he also failed the psychometric test, did worse than the other people who were bidding for the job. Now the minister is trying to avoid accountability and says, we are charging you, DG, as if the DG only signs a contract by himself. So we're going to look at that. I want to bring in the chair of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development in Parliament as well. At 10:30, we continue with our series about the things that science cannot explain. Today, we are talking about intuition. Do you have that? Where you know that shouldn't be on this plane, but...
No, not quite that.
Yeah?
I have an intuition or almost a sixth sense, particularly about people who are not telling the truth.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you see? Their eyes?
There's something where, and I find it always interesting, particularly, you know, if it feels like an immaterial fact, right, that you are telling me.
Yeah.
And I instantly know, and often, months later, the dots will connect, and I'll go, yep.
Yeah, same here.
And often people don't remember.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing about not telling the truth, right?
Yeah.
Is you've got enough fight to remember what it is you
True,
said.
same here. Sometimes I look at you and it comes 3 months or even a year later and I'm like, I knew it. We're going to wrap up the show at 11 o'clock with our Family Matters feature. Today, we're discussing how best to support our loved ones that are aging. A lot of us are living and taking care of our parents, our grandparents, our aunties, uncles. How do we best support them as they age?
All right, come in, Mangatela, between 9 and 12.
It won't just be minds in a room, it will be futures in the making. Are you ready to claim yours? The South African Future Trust Summit on 702. Your summit, your way.
The South African Future Trust Summit's premium entrepreneurial showcase returns to the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November. In partnership with Standard Bank, the summit will bring together entrepreneurs with bold ideas and big ambition. Join masterclasses with industry experts who will share valuable knowledge on relevant topics and seize the opportunity to pitch your business ideas to leading investors. Book your seat now at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in proud partnership with 702. So earlier we asked you to send us a WhatsApp and tell us how you might benefit, and we've got some tickets to give away, and we've got Jojo on the line from Brixton. Jojo, a very good morning to you. Will you tell us how you might benefit from attending this glittering event?
Good morning, Bongani. I will benefit by obviously associating and mingling with stakeholders on behalf of my nephews as well, who want to go into business growing plants, which is something that I also in my younger days tried to do, but now I want to go back and do it again. That is my nephews. And 2 weeks ago, I recently took him to a plant nursery where we were looking at those cactus plants and so on that he would benefit from growing, and obviously look at exporting. And my other nephews in the creative sector, which is also the area in which I write in. So I will benefit by taking them there, associating with funders, movers and shakers,
hobnobbing,
and be able to introduce them.
Hobnobbing,
Sorry?
Jojo, hobnobbing,
basically,
rubbing shoulders, rubbing shoulders. The clouds are gathering.
Rubbing shoulders and getting to sign deals, with them. And it's nice to take kids because and show them that it's something that they can do.
All right. Well, listen, congratulations. You've won 5 tickets to the South African Trust Summit. Thanks to the South African Trust Summit 2025, where bold ideas meet transformative investment on 702. So tomorrow we'll do it again. We'll give away some more tickets. We'll ask you to send us a WhatsApp telling us how you might benefit from attending the South African Trust Summit on the 5th and 6th of November. And we could be calling you.
702 and corporates that care with Investec are talking about Investec's flagship education initiative, ProMaths, in partnership with Kutlwanong Maths, Science and Technology Center.
Started 20 years ago in Dobsonville on a pilot program with 105 pupils. Fast forward to 2025, 28,000 learners have been through the program, and we believe that the impact that this has had has been something beyond numbers, something beyond science. It's about people, purpose and hope. And I think the ability to partner with Kutlwanong to look at how you could build something that could be replicated. So starting with one school in Dobson 20 years ago, now having 19 of these centers operating across South Africa, 10 which are sponsored by Investec and 9 by other sponsors.
Visit mywalk.org.za to learn more. Investec, out of the ordinary on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Think about 6 years ago, when Amapiano was just a musical instrument, when streaming meant watching water flow, not videos online, and remote work was only said when your remote batteries died. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Hino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The PIC is the continent's biggest investment fund. From what you know at this point, why has it decided to suspend its chief investment officer?
It is connected to IO Technologies. This was kind of alarming. The new board had only been sort of in office for a week, and they sat immediately and decided to suspend Rukotsa, which was surprising because, if anything, it was a governance breach, it seems.
Carol Payton, the editor-at-large at Fin24.
The Money Show
on 702.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking, proud sponsor of the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index 2025. The insights to guide you through Africa's financial landscapes are waiting for you. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
How do you brunch? That is the question. There's a whole new vibe sweeping across South Africa. It's all about style, sport, and sophistication. City Polo, of course, are teaming up with the iconic Polo South Africa brand, and they want to create something fresh, a collaboration that's more than just fashion. It's a lifestyle, they're saying, and of course, feels like Polo is a brunch and polo experience at the Inanda Polo Club, where elegance will meet African cool, redefining luxury, celebrating heritage, and creating a new South African culture. We've invited Nikki Lee Watson, who's the head of marketing and communications at City Polo, to join us in studio. But also Craig James has come along, the CEO of City Polo. Welcome to you both, and thank you for joining us on 702 Breakfast.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good
us.
morning, South Africa.
Nikki, let's start with you. Talk to me about this collaboration between City Polo and Polo South Africa.
100%. You know, it's one of the biggest things that I wanted to introduce and formulate a collaboration. Polo has been around for 50 years and they haven't done anything quite significant. And they won the David and Goliath battle against the other polo brand in the US. And this is a stamp of our new national symbol of heritage. So, you know, as the Oaks would be wearing their Boca t-shirts or the Pirates or Chiefs jerseys, this is now a new symbol of heritage for South Africans.
Just explain to me, because in my mind, Polo often, I think of exclusivity,
Yes.
I think of dressing up,
Yes.
and you're saying you want to change all of that and make it more accessible?
100%, because it's almost one of the uncharted territories that we perceive as inaccessible, when in actual fact it is quite accessible. And we are communicating that message because we want our involvement as Kwakini, like as us, because we always assume that it's the rich white man's sport, or it's you cannot get beyond the Inanda gates. That's a fallacy. And this is why, you know, partnering with Cindy Sonyoni, who creates quite impactful work, this collaboration was really us putting a stamp on this sport, claiming it and owning it as ours.
Because if we can do golf, we can do polo.
I mean,
Right?
and the only thing that's holding us back is that Sabamaj. Why? Why?
Craig James, I'll bring you into this conversation. Again, this idea of sophistication. Does it offend you that people will want to go to the polo club but don't actually know who the horses are, don't know who the jockeys are? They just want to be seen fashionable drinking champagne.
No, I think it's all part of the whole lifestyle experience. We all have certain likes and dislikes. I think combining that with the sophistication of the horses and their agility, their speed, the sportsmanship of it, I think the champagne and the fine dining and looking fine around the polo is as important.
So actually what we want to do is get more information about what is, in fact, a thrilling sport.
Absolutely. And I think it's the combination of the two and how they work together. It's a lifestyle, very much a lifestyle.
So in a nutshell, how are we moving this sport from being the game of kings to being something that's accessible to ordinary folk who may not perhaps have had an interest in the sport, but as their eyes open might?
Well, I think the event that we're going to see this weekend on the 19th of October, Titan Law Africa Cup in association and proudly in association with Polo Clothing and Audi Santon, by exposing the sport to more people, opening the gates to those people driving down Forest Road, and they're looking at the Ananda Club and saying, guys, you're welcome to come in. It's sophisticated, it's luxurious, but it is a place that you can come with your family.
Yes.
Enjoy a fun day out in Santon and combine all of those wonderful elements that we have here and are privileged to have in the heart of Santon.
Africa Cup, Clash of the Titans. Tell me what's on offer.
We have got a team from Zimbabwe coming. They are no strangers to the Africa Cup. It's been around for a while. They've got very close to raising the cup once before. This year they're coming back locked and loaded and looking to, test the South African teams. We've got some representatives from Tanzania and we've got some representation from Kenya. We've kept it nice and tight and competitive this year. We have now narrowed it down to 6 teams over this weekend. And we are looking forward to some action-packed fun.
Yeah, I'm seeing flags of Nigeria, Angola, Zimbabwe, as you say, Kenya. So it's going to be competitive, and the idea is to go Pan-African, I suppose.
100%.
Absolutely.
With a bit of Josie sophistication. Where do people get tickets? How do they come?
So you'll find us, obviously, with our Insta handles, City
At
Polo,
City Polo.
at City Polo. Tickets are available on the Howler website, so go looking for Titan Law Africa Cup. Some beautiful VIP tickets, don't miss out. And then a very cool players VIP area, a little bit different, but it's going to be super fun.
It sounds like it's going to be absolutely
And the
stunning.
family is welcome. That is one of the biggest things that we wanted to highlight, that it's a polo event with a different flair. We are seeding down to the generations below us. The kiddies need to run around.
Mining that pipeline.
Exactly.
Africa Cup Clash of the Titans on the 19th of October at the Inanda Polo Club. You can get your tickets on Howler.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
And look at the time, it's 9 o'clock, and that means we've overstayed our welcome. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for the Tuesday edition of 702 Breakfast. The Clement Manyatela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. 42 bodies have been pulled from the wreckage of a bus crash on the N1 highway in Limpopo. The Road Traffic Management Corporation says the bus was trapped. The passengers were en route to Harare in Zimbabwe from the Eastern Cape. RTMC spokesperson Simon Zwane